it's 5:15, we'll begin our meeting. Please, no, I don't know.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Everyone is attendance except for Councilperson Kyle Bauer. And we'll commence with probably Aaron.
Yep.
You wanna Start.
Just to get started, we will start with Brad here in a second, but after going through Monday night's presentations, are there anything that council would like to see changed at this point in time or adjusted?
So after first of all, public and everyone, sorry I wasn't here. I was on vacation. You need those every once in a while. I guess my biggest thing was with the airport commission, if somebody can, find out how many jets do land there. This has been like a kind of a 3-year struggle that we started when Greg was first in here of how many jets land there. And we still, there's this mysterious number of how many jets do land there to be able to use this hangar to justify why we're gonna pay the money to do it. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of need that number. And then my other question would be to them was, have any of these corporations reached out and said to donate money? Because I really have a problem with if let's say you're working at Pella or one of these businesses, you're making $22 an hour, and now you're gonna take the one revenue that taxpayer does get back, and you're gonna put it in to build a hangar. It doesn't really sit right with me or my constituents as far as where we're at. It kind of seems like corporate, bureaucratic, the same thing where we're all taking care of each other up top. And so if I could just get those questions answered, I think that might kind of help me with my decision. And what were we gonna say, Jerry?
I was just gonna say, I think Norman Hutchison, who was here last night, he kind of keeps track on his own, how many jets, and I see him enough, I'll ask him.
Well, I assume when something lands there, there's a tail number attached to it, or it's...
Yes, but it's not conventional for any airport to keep track of that other than.
There's no FFA log of where they're landing or anything?
Sometimes, they mentioned that yesterday.
Okay.
Sometimes jets land and do nothing but refuel and leave. So there may or may not, they could land in the middle of the night.
Okay.
And come back. But Norman.
But how do we know if they're landing? Like, there has to be, we're saying that they're landing when they're not there. They know that they're landing. There has to be some type of track to tell them at midnight a jet landed there.
If it would have to land for a reason, most likely to fuel.
Okay.
While it's there, it would fuel no matter why it landed, even if it was just to drop someone off. So I'll check with him. He's the chairman of their board.
Yeah, because you see what I'm saying though? If they're like, oh, sometimes we're not there and they land, but they're counting that as a number of them landing, they have to know that it lands somehow.
Okay.
Remember, like A Few Good Men, like, we've got to bring the airmen in here and be like, oh, the flight did take off. You know, like there has to be, like, it might have been at 2 in the morning or whatever it was, but if we know the plane landed, how do we know that it's landing at 2 a.m. in the morning?
Right.
Or is that just a made up? I don't know. And I don't think it's a made up number. I think there is a tracking thing.
They have some sort of number, but I don't know if they track each and every plane that comes in and it comes out.
I'm just worried about these jets.
So, well, some of those jets obviously are coming. I think what I understood is those jets come in and then they're asking for, hey, we need to put our plane inside, or hey, we need to be fueled, which that's what Don does out there. He runs that fueling business. So he's the only one that I think does do the fueling from what I understood. But if Don's not there, then they're up a creek and we're not sure who is there.
And I understand that. Our part,
I think they fill their own.
Do they? I didn't understand that, but maybe they do.
Another good
I guess
question to find out.
our thing as councilmen is it may be a problem, and I'll address the problem if there is a problem, but I need the facts. I mean, Laverne, even you went out there with radar guns and everything else. We need to know how many jets are coming in that are creating this problem, where this whole
Norm
thing is
mentioned
coming
that the
from.
other night. That
I don't think he gave a quantified number.
No, there's no.
no, but I think they fill their own.
Yes, they said that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I misunderstood that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did mention that they will refuel and leave.
They got 3 different types of fuel.
And even if it's the fuel bill of these things fueling up, they're knowing that the fuel bill, we could track it from the fuel bill, or something to show that it's not just salt and pepper on top saying there's 7 jets landing here a day. Like, we don't live in that world. If you went to a bank or anything else and asked for money, they're going to want actual proof, and I think that's our job as city councilmen members.
All right, I'll check with Ms.
Thank you.
Hutchison. And yes, I just happened to watch that movie the other night, I know exactly.
The flight took off, right?
Correct.
You can't handle the truth.
No, there's no airmen out here though.
I got him outside, but
Okay.
just in case.
So, that's all for that, and moving forward,
Yep.
are we ready for Brad?
Start with Brad.
Go ahead, Brad.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, the department summary for the police department is under tab E, page 41. And we'll first discuss the, just the regular general fund, which is on page 86, which is under tab F, if you're looking for the line items for it. Our next year initiatives for capital is not a lot there. Our biggest change is gonna be, we need to be replacing our server in our office. We'll be at almost 8 or 9 years, I believe, in August, so we've pushed it past our limits, I think, and it's time to get going. The IT is pushing us to make this change, so that'll be our biggest capital expense that's changed from this current year to next year. Our revenues are always pretty low, and most of it comes from fines and fees. As you'll see on there, there's a few intergovernmental things. We get some grants and things for ballistic vest payments and those types of items, so pretty minimal there. Our expenses, our largest expenses are personnel services, which is normal. It's currently it'll be 89% of our budget for next year. And we'll have our union negotiation for salary, I think, on the 10th. And hopefully we'll be able to get that finished up pretty quick after and get that back to us. So I have a projected number in there right now, and we'll make adjustments if we need to after that
And
happens.
on that server, do you guys store your video on that too, or is that a separate?
Yes and no. So we do store video on the server with our old, so we have two body camera systems and 2 car camera systems, because we have video from the old system that's still there, which is stored on our server. The new body camera systems is all stored in the cloud.
Oh, it is.
That's stored in the cloud, yep. But we are storing any surveillance evidence any electronic evidence that we collect from businesses, which could be surveillance video, could be audio, whatever that could be, it is all stored within our server. The new this body system and the car system is stored through the cloud service.
And I know, I talked to the computer guy one day about this. Another option is to buy a computer or a server that has redundancy. How do you guys back up your information in the event that the server crashed or you had a big issue with it?
So we currently have a separate system that's connected to the server in-house in the police department, and it backs up every night onto files. I can't remember what they're called. There's some type of fin things that he has set up in there, and they back up every night. And
Are you
then-
guys comfortable with that? I mean,
It
not that
works,
I'm
it
advocating
works.
spending $90-some thousand on a server, but at the same time, if you're at risk of losing information, but you're comfortable with what you have.
It is, and we run a virtual server too, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna expand our virtual server system. So if one does go out, we're able to back it up with the virtual system we should be back up and running within 24 hours
Okay.
currently. And if we had a catastrophic event where like we had a fire or tornado, then we're probably starting from scratch at that point.
So I have a question on just, I guess, more the rank structure here. So we have a chief, a captain, 3 sergeants, and then 10 officers. Is that like the normal breakdown with the 3 sergeants? Not that, is that like a time they've been there longer?
No, they're the shift supervisor for each one of the shifts, the patrol shifts. There's one assigned for the day and the afternoon and the night shift. And they're the direct supervisor for the 3 officers on each one of the shift. The SRO,
He's at the school.
he's at the school, and so right now he's reporting to the captain only because we're in a transition period with our retirement. So then he'll be reporting to the sergeant once he gets to the day shift here in the next couple weeks.
Just for my own knowledge.
Yeah, that's how we're pretty minimal. We don't run a real heavy top end, I think, on our
What
shift.
shift does your SRO work in the summer months then?
We'll find out this summer.
Or
We're
do you
not
just
sure.
use them to fill in the gaps?
A little bit of everything, yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna assist with investigations, fill in the gaps for vacation, sick time, that type of activity too. Like we did over Christmas, we did that with him. He filled in some gaps, and we worked a little bit of nights and afternoons and kind of got experience.
This is your
all-
first year with that?
Correct.
Is it going well?
So far, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll bring that, the school board, or at least Casey Berlau is gonna show up. I think we're planning on a late April, early May council meeting. And he wants to come and present. I know the council was interested in hearing how everything was going. We presented to the school board back in, I think it was December, on how we thought everything was going, and they're gonna do the same for us towards the end of the school year.
Okay.
Do you feel, it was an 80-20 split, right?
70-30.
70-30. Do you feel that we're getting our 30%?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a huge benefit, not only for the school, but for us too. It's been a good partnership so far, and I don't.
Do you agree, think that we're getting our 30%?
Oh yeah, definitely are, and we're gonna take full advantage over the summertime too with them. So.
Please, if it gets to a point where you're not getting your 30% though, can we?
Oh, yeah.
Can please bring it up to us so that we can address, you know what I mean?
Yep, I will.
Brad, at 16 officers, aren't we still relatively low compared to most places?
We are, but it works for us. Our crime rate's the level that we're comfortable with that number of officers, and we can handle calls, and we don't have guys sitting too idle, so it works out for us.
I've seen more people pulled over in the last 3 weeks.
We got two guys just got off of field training, so they're pretty gung ho right now.
What's our,
That explains to
Or
me.
it drives with his lights on, right?
Yeah.
where are we ranked per capita on safety?
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to give you an actual number, but annually we get the emails from that, whatever it is that's tracking it online, that we're always the top 10 in the state of Iowa. So we rank high every year.
Per capita?
Per capita, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know, even we do have some NIBRS numbers, which is our FBI documentation that we send. We're almost non-existent for violent crime, which puts us in that top 10% probably in the nation. We just have very low violent crime numbers, which it's a good thing. And our crime rate overall is pretty low too.
At least all those two new guys are doing a good job. I mean, anytime that you notice it, like, I mean, people, yeah, you get a ticket, it stinks, but a notice visibility of police officers in your community is a sign of one, a safe and strong community, so.
Brad, along those lines, what are you seeing since the law changed in January 1st with the cell phone usage?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah. We wrote a lot of warnings, and that's just pretty much transitioned into tickets at this point. So
I still see a ton of it.
it is, and we just had a car accident. A driver hit a parked vehicle, and she admitted she was on her phone.
Yeah.
So it isn't slowing down yet. So I think the ticket's $170. So and it's a moving violation, so it's not a fun one to get.
The secret to not admit to it now.
Well, most times we see it. It's easy to see too, but yeah, in that case, the driver was honest and admitted to what was going on. So
It's interesting. It's a moving violation too. That'll add some weight to it.
definitely will.
I kind of laugh because I did kind of notice a few extra stops recently. And what I found amusing is for the first time I learned there's lights on the sides of the vehicle as well. I didn't
On
know.
if they don't have a light bar on them, they'll have them on the side.
Yeah,
Well, I
on
think
the side,
we,
right.
in all of the rear quarter panels, we put them on there just for extra visibility, especially going through intersections.
Yeah. Mike, I do have one question for you regarding vacations. I'm assuming there are times that are more demanded than others or requested than others. How do you determine who gets, I'm assuming the weekend of 4th of July is probably, I want to go on vacation.
We don't get much vacation requests over holidays.
Okay.
We get paid
They
2.5
get paid well.
times your salary on a holiday, so.
But is there a time that is in high demand, and how do you decide who gets it?
Yes,
First come, first served, or-
dead week for the schools is a high one, especially when people have kids that are middle school and high school age. That's the high demand time, is that one. It's typically first come, first serve, but we rarely turn people away. We just don't get that much overlap where we have to say you can't take vacation. It does happen, but it's pretty rare. But otherwise, it's first come, first serve, and then
Do you and the
we try to make
captain
it work.
cover a lot of those gaps then?
we do cover. Yeah, the captain covers quite a few of them. The sergeants will just pick up their patrol shifts too, and some guys like overtime, so it works out. We get them covered. We always have our two minimums on shift at all times, so we never had any issues with that.
Brad, I have a question back to the server. Is that the local company that you work
It will
with?
be a local company. Yeah, I don't know, are we contracted? I don't know if we are, but we use a local company, and yep, and they've been great to work with too, and
So I know our company, we have a server on site which backs up daily, and then we have a company like in Rockford, Illinois, that backs up our server daily, and then we go to the cloud. So annually, we test it, and we can get our entire server back up within 45 minutes using that method.
that's pretty cool.
So it's alarming when you say you'd have to start from scratch.
If we lost
If you lost
everything,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
If we have, say, a fire or something came through,
So it might be worth asking that company if they
and
can do that.
we did build. He built us. The quotes are quite expensive for that. We did build in the redundancy program, and the difference is about 50,000 maybe. 90. Yeah, a little over 50,000 was the differences in the quotes to do the redundancy built into our system.
Another 50?
Yeah,
Was that just priced out just at that company or?
Yeah.
That was just through our, the people that we currently use, yes.
Okay.
It might be worth asking
Yeah.
if there's the ability to do that.
We did talk about too, potentially the combining with the city, and I don't know if we really got a response yet for that, but
You're talking about being able to have all of our data backed up in a cloud and or remote site somewhere, right? Okay.
yeah, and that's
I
what
haven't really
we,
explored much with that. I know, like here at City Hall, I'll just go into ours a little bit. We have the backup, we call them tapes, that they're hard drives that backs up daily. And I go through a rotation of 5 of them here, and I keep one at the rec center. In the case of like Mother Nature, you're hoping City Hall wouldn't get destroyed, as well as the rec center, so there would be one there. And then I do a monthly one that I keep off-site at my house, which is completely geographically in a different location as well. So that way we have some of those, but off-site or like in the cloud. For our data, some of it, our financial software is already in the cloud, so I'm not too concerned necessarily about that. That would be the big issue for us. But the other stuff, yeah, it would be a little painful if we had to recreate some of that stuff, but I feel like what we're doing right now for our stuff is adequate. But we can definitely check into seeing what that would cost to do something back up that way.
we've kind of got that similar built. Our report writing software is stored in Des Moines server up through the state. And then we share record management with the sheriff's department or with the county. And so there's probably that ability to build back off of that if we really had an issue that it came up. But we did look into the redundancy one, and just got the cost differences were so much higher that I put in my my budget request for next year, the lower one, which is I think we have that at 48,000, somewhere in that neighborhood.
42.5.
Okay, there you go.
Looking into having a shared server or more redundancy, I think Pete said it would be a little bit of a challenge for us to piggyback off of your
That one, yeah.
server. So that kind of stopped the conversation right there, so.
We did talk with our record management company, and I think down the road, we're gonna end up being on a cloud service with them too. They don't have that ability quite yet, but it's
That would help
it's
a
going to
lot
be
for-
coming.
Yeah.
And then our server requirements, when we go to meet the replacement 5 or 8 years down the road, I think is gonna be pretty minimal.
Yep.
And it'll be pretty much everything.
Are you
through
guys still with
cloud.
Shieldware?
Yes. Let's see, so that's personnel services. I'll go back. This percentage is based off our total budget. Our services and commodities, which is our day-to-day operations, gas, electric, repairs, building maintenance, things like that. It is 7% of our budget at $166,000. And then the capital outlay has the server on there. Also, we have 1 vehicle replacement for this coming fiscal year. And I believe those are the only 2 items on there. Let me flip to the right
Brad, I
page.
noticed you didn't have anything on there for court costs and nuisance abatements.
So
How do you pay for that?
Nuisances has switched to the building department.
Oh, it
The
did?
fines has switched to the building department, or not the fines, the payments to the companies that do the cleanups has switched to the building department. We currently did that this fiscal year, and
Uh-huh.
then next year it'll continue. And then court costs are different now also because the state collects our fees, provides it back to us every quarter, is that correct? And then,
It's up monthly from the county.
is it monthly? And then if there's a court cost that we incur, it comes out of the fee before we return it back, so we're not actually paying into the court system any longer.
Not directly.
Not directly, yeah.
The dog care contract goes to
Carroll Vet Clinic?
Carroll Vet Company.
Yep.
And then I have another question. Why is training, obviously we have the new officers, I assume, training jumped so high from 23, 24 to all the way to where it is on 2026?
Yep, so
Not a
the-
decrease from the last year, but from.
The
2023 to
biggest jump was, we didn't have to put anybody through the academy. And then now we've had 2 this last year. We'll have 1 going this, they start in May. I don't know when we'll get billed, if it'll fall under this budget year or next budget year, but
So yeah, we'll probably
we'll have 3 this budget year. So those are the biggest expenses is, new officers. And we hadn't had to hire a new officer since 2021, so we've been pretty lucky. 2022, 21 or 22. So that was the biggest jump on those ones. Total increase of the budget's pretty minimal. It looks like we'll be at $2.4 million total. It's about a $115,000 increase from last budget year. And majority of that is through personnel services, through wages and insurance and retirement system.
The office equipment, that is the server in there, correct?
Server, yep, that's the big jump on there.
Is there anything else that you think that you need?
Oh, we could always use something, but we're,
Helicopter?
yeah.
You opened it up, right?
Yep. You know what, we when we do our equipment, we take a lot of time and looking to make sure we get the right equipment that's gonna last, and we maintain it pretty well. So we've been pretty lucky. The officers, I always open it up to the sergeants and the officers if they have any input, and we really didn't get much back this year, so I think that means we're doing well. We have some items in this current year. We're gonna be updating some ballistic panels for officer safety. That's current, our current budget. We'll get that accomplished, and we have that crime prevention account too that we'll talk about in a little bit. That always has a pretty good amount of funding into it that we use to offset any of those extra costs that we may have. But this year, the only real big change is the server replacement.
I just want to ask that question. Do you foresee any large ticket things that are coming up in the next 3 to 5 years?
Tasers replacement. We purchased those in 2015. We've been notified through Taser that our current system, which is called the X2, is going to be obsolete at 2027, I believe. And that's like any other item, it's going to be a big expense, probably
There's
$50,000.
still just one, is it Axon or something?
They are the monopoly.
I've heard some horror stories that because it's a monopoly,
They set their costs.
yeah.
Yep. And they do a lot of software expenses that's probably why we haven't made the change. We've been actually, some of our tasers that we've had gone bad, we've been finding refurbished items online that we're able to purchase through a guy that had pretty good luck with, and we'll continue that, but at some point that's going to end too. That'll be a big expense that you'll see within the next 5 budget years. We'll get to that point.
Does the federal government still subsidize the purchase of bulletproof
Yeah,
vests?
50%.
Is it? Okay. Because I think you had a pretty big expense this is coming.
Yeah,
in.
and it's, it depends on when we hire a bunch of officers at one time, then they all expire their vest at the same time, and so we have a large expense. So yeah, just every year is different on how much we have to replace for ballistic panels in the vest, and they're good for 5 years, warranty through 5 years.
So you have miscellaneous contract labor.
Yep, that is for miscellaneous contract labor for us includes pest control, so our quarterly pest control that comes through, and then we have a window cleaning service that takes care of all the windows also on the building. So those are our 2 expenses that comes out of miscellaneous contract labor.
Doesn't maintenance do our windows? Or they don't?
Nope, not currently. At least not for us, they don't. Okay, that's my, just the general fund for the police department, if there's any other questions. Otherwise, we can go on to the next tab, which is tab F in page 93. That's our communications expense that we have. And we still have the current contract that was approved. I think we're on year 3 of this. Is that right, Laura? 3 or 4 of our current contract that we have with the county, and we pay a flat rate of $150,000 per year.
That's a 10-year contract?
Yeah.
Is it 10?
Yeah.
Okay. And it auto renews unless there's objections from anybody.
And how long into the contract are we?
I think we're 3 or 4 years. Yep. It was we went through that. It was a good move, I think, by everybody. So
Is the other side happy?
we have not heard any complaints.
Okay.
They didn't have a choice.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
We went back and forth on that quite a bit.
Many years.
Yeah, we proved that they were gouging us.
I wouldn't be surprised if they come back at some point and ask us for like cost of living or a
Yeah.
COLA increase on an annual basis, but otherwise, I think overall they're not disappointed or upset with how the agreement is at this point.
And I remember it vaguely, but remind me who else pays into that? The county, and then there are cities too that do, right?
We were getting double dipped.
That was the problem back
We were
then.
getting
Just
double
as a
dipped,
citizen,
yeah.
as a
We were
citizen
paying
taxpayer.
50% of the cost, and
Correct.
42% of the county's half came out of our
Yeah.
city.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that was a friction to get that.
Yeah, I
done.
dealt with that a little bit.
Yeah, that wasn't,
So we got to pay 92%, which is
Well,
about what?
Let's not talk about
No.
it.
About half of it, about 70%.
Yeah, quickly move on.
Let's move on if everyone's happy.
yeah.
We don't need to bring up old wounds.
Tab F, page 94 is disaster services. That's what our weather sirens are operate out of. So the biggest expense is electrical every year. And then we do have some minor maintenance that we do. We have some batteries and things that we replace. And then if there's ever any issues that go off. So we test those every Monday at noon. You'll hear them, except for on holidays and any weather. If the weather looks bad that day, we don't test them that time also. So but we do test those year round. And like I said, the biggest expense is our electrical fee that we have to pay for that one.
So we can, if there were repairs, we don't have the ability to do something.
Some stuff we do,
Does
yeah.
some of it.
Yep, we do some of it. We utilize the street department, so thank you, Randy, for help us with that. And their bucket truck, but it doesn't quite reach the top of all of our sirens. So we've had to contract out to different agencies if we needed to.
Okay.
Tab S, page 210, that is our police forfeiture account. And our police forfeiture is any monies that we receive back through the court system, would go into this account. It's not a very large account, and we don't keep a very large budget into it, or a big, some amount of cash into it. We spend it to help with paying for equipment and things too. We're projecting the ending balance after next year to be $4,625, so a pretty minimal amount, and no expenses coming out of that this next couple of years. Tab S, page 212 is the crime prevention account. The largest sum of revenues for this account is we do vehicle inspections, so DOT vehicle inspections. If a vehicle is salvaged and needs to be licensed, if a buyer fixes the car up, they can come and get it inspected from us, and if it meets the standards, then they can get their title from the county treasurer's office and get licensing on the vehicle. So they come to us, they pay everything into the state, and then the state pays us back for our share of that.
What do we get out of each one of those?
I believe we get $50 per inspection. 40, okay, there you go. And we do probably average 2 to 3 a week, I would say we do.
Why is the DARE expenses down to zero?
DARE, the retirement that we just had was our DARE instructor, and we have no one to backfill the spot, and so we will have no expenses next year. We will not be in the schools doing DARE.
That program's kind of seen its heyday.
I still remember, this is your brain on
Yeah.
drugs on
Oh, yeah.
man. Like, it worked.
But DARE has kind of gone by the wayside to an extent.
About 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So us still having it now kind of surprised me when I came here.
So is that put on the schools now, or is it?
We'll still jump in and do, so a lot of our DARE, probably the most benefit that we get from our DARE is we do a lot of online safety education, and we're going to continue to do that through the schools. Our SRO is going to do it through the Carroll Community School District, and we have an officer that's on the Kemper's safety team. I can't remember the exact title for that, but he's on that team, and he's going to step in and do some training for them this next year too. We did complete DARE.
My thing is, anytime you can get in front of a kid and say, don't use drugs, that is especially in the society that we live in today, like, that's an important thing, that, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I get that.
Like, so.
I think just the contact with the officers
Yeah.
too.
That was probably the biggest benefit that we received out of it, was the connection that the officer had with the students.
If we can just communicate with the school of how it's gonna be.
Yep, and we've been in discussion with them, and they're all aware that we did finish DARE for this school year. We typically split it up where we do one school each semester. We did them both the first semester and got them accomplished this year. So we did get through this last year of DARE, and then next year the schools are aware, and we've been in discussion
My
with them.
kids came home when DARE was going on, I was like, we're in DARE, Dad. I was like, me and my wife were like, man, I remember DARE.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it does, you know what I mean? It does affect, like, and for $500, like, yeah. So I just wanna
Yeah, our
make sure that
expenses was
doesn't-
pretty minimal. I think we had an annual membership, and then T-shirts and things came out of the DARE expense there too. But so
I don't know if we need T-shirts and stuff. But
they added the T-shirts. They had all kinds of stuff that they handed out. But,
officer talking about drugs is.
yeah, and we'll still be in both schools with the officers doing something. It just won't be to the extent that DARE was. That was every one school, I think it was one day a week for 8 weeks or 10 weeks, and the other school was 2 days a week for 8 or 10 weeks. I can't remember how many it was. Depending on the class sizes is what it really made a difference in the time there.
There are funds available through opiate lawsuits. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, we've been discussing with the county attorney's office. He's given it to us. We've thrown some ideas at him that won't qualify, so we'll keep brainstorming and sending things to him.
You might as well be happy to.
Oh yeah, the county attorney's office got a hold of us right away because they have a very large account, is what it sounds like, that they're
Right.
trying to take care of. And
And and that's what it's for.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we've been brainstorming. We've sent them some ideas, and some of our stuff just didn't quite work. So we're going to keep working on
I
it.
think I'm the only one up here with young kids, so I'm like, don't get rid of Dare till my kids get through. You know, like,
You're on your
let's
own,
keep- You
Jason.
know, like let's keep it. I mean, it's a scary world out there for these young kids, and so anytime I begin, yeah. All right, thank you.
Yep. So out of that crime prevention, we have no capital plans for that account for this current year. Expected ending balance for fiscal year 27 of that account will be $46,706, and we'll roll that over to the next year. And then once we have those equipment purchases, we like to take it out of that account to help offset. Last page that I have on our summary is just our full-time employees. We have currently 17.2. We have a part-time officer that we utilize to fill in some gaps, and he works a few hours for us here and there. We went up this current fiscal year from 16 to 17 for the school resource officer. So otherwise, no changes expected for this next fiscal year. And then, as you see in our capital requested items, we have the vehicle replacement, and the server was the big jump for the office equipment. We also have that in there that we replace computers as needed throughout the year. And that's what I have for the police department, unless you guys have any questions.
What's our patrol car replacement? How often is it now? Remind me.
We're getting better. So if you remember, we had a major issue after the manufacturers had issues with COVID, and we're getting back on a rotation that's working for us. But it's currently 6 years on a vehicle, I believe is what it is. And we try to get them at about 100,000 miles. We have not been lucky with that due to that rotation issue. Yeah, we're getting 120 to 130. We lose our warranty for the powertrain at 100,000 miles. So if transmission or motor went out, it's going to be a big expense. So
Brad, how's your experience been with the hybrid vehicles?
so far so good. We've had the maintenance has been pretty minimal. We reduced our number. We are servicing every month. We went to every other month on those just because the motor's not running as much. So we had cut that back. Our
mileage is about double?
Fuel costs it went from 12 to about 20. So not quite double, but it did increase miles per gallon. So we've seen a decrease in our fuel expense, which is noted in there too.
And then you just sell these off on.
We've been selling through Gov Deals, and we've done better. Kyle may not like to hear this, but we do better than we do trade-ins with him or whoever we buy them from. But yeah, so Gov Deals has worked pretty well. We've sold a lot of equipment. We sold some stuff for the Parks Department through their vehicles and stuff, and I think we've had good luck with it. We get a lot of input and actually the people who are buying them are Chicago, Nebraska, Kansas. They're coming from all over to pick these vehicles up too. So it's worked out pretty well.
My other comment, I would go back to that server. I have no problem spending more money on something like that. That saves you, I mean, in today's world with all the technology, just the potential that you'd be starting over is a very scary thought.
Oh, it absolutely is.
So I think you really probably need to investigate that a little bit more, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because there are other options out there, and maybe you do some locally and some not. Find another company that might be able to do the offsite.
Okay.
I'd agree with that too. And that's me saying spend more money. Vacation must have been nice to me, right?
Yeah, we can do some looking into that before we finalize too. And
Cost of it going down is going to be.
but we know that we've already been told that the storage fees are going to probably increase quite a bit this next year due to the manufacturing costs.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. Dan. All right, Dan.
Thank you. We can start off in tab E, page 44. Mine is completely nothing compared to everybody else's. Mine's pretty simple when it comes to expenses. Just a couple of high notes on our accomplishments for this past year. With our dance money and things like that, we did purchase a new set of AMCUS tools for the fire department, and we installed those in our new rescue vehicle that we purchased last year. And another piece that we purchased with that was, it's called a Firebox. It is a training device that trains in a very efficient way on ventilation and proper ventilation of homes as they burn, how we can try to accomplish with the way all the materials that are in the world now, how quickly things burn. Ventilation is huge. Years ago, you used to open the windows up and spray water in. Now anymore, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you only open certain parts and spray water and before you do that stuff. So this firebox is going to be a huge tool for us, and not just for us here in Carroll. We plan on using it in some of our county meetings to show other departments how that piece works too. So that's a handy piece that we purchased with our dance money for the department. The other thing for this next year, we'll continue to work on grants to help purchase some of that safety equipment. Just in the last week, I just get some funding to purchase our new bags for our SCBA masks, which again, were 26 years old, I think is what they were. So we got some money from Smithfield, and they purchased those bags for us, which was a nice little accomplishment there.
Dan, I have a question for you, and it's not a big deal, but we do the township fire protection, and I noticed from the re-estimate, we're going down about $4,700. Was there, and it looks like this was more than you anticipated coming in this year. Was there a reason that this year's contracts were higher?
Is that because of the apparatus purchase last year?
I never know for sure until I actually put the stuff together, and I usually don't get to that until after I get the city budget, so budgeting conservatively, I put in a smaller number. I think the amount that, I just did those last Friday, I think the amount that's being assessed to the townships is very similar to this current year.
And we still use a formula, so everybody basically is paying based on the same formula?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
we're still using that same formula. The percentage that everybody pays could shift a little bit depending on those different components, on how everybody compares in those components, from tax evaluation to your average 3 years of fire calls. So when you factor that all together, actually this year, I think the city of Carroll shows that they're gonna pay, their percentage went up just a little bit from last year.
And are we comfortable with the formula, with the amount that we're getting for the service and stuff? Okay,
Yeah, I would think so.
okay, good.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
So the next part of that, we can go to tab F, page 89. Again, my going down the line there, I have no capital expenditures this year. For next year, I guess that is. Wages, we budget that, or we go off of that. We put the average of 100 calls out there. Last year, I think 87, I think, is what I ended up with last year. I'd have to go back. I do, so on our book here goes off the June to July, and my count I keep track of goes from January to December, so my numbers are just a little.
Percentage-wise, what are you guys seeing nowadays for false alarms?
Oh, Jeff, I didn't.
It used to be fairly high. I
Yeah,
know.
there's quite a few, yeah. Well, whether you call it a false alarm or, let's say, an O2 detector going off, I mean, that was a big one in the last couple of years, and I think partially that was coming back from the big push for everybody to have O2 detectors in their home. They're a 10-year item, so that is about the year time that we've saw a big number come through.
Okay.
And many people don't know, as you go to a store to buy your fire detectors and your CO alarms, they may have been sitting in that store for 2 years.
What are you seeing as far as your availability of volunteers? I know you guys used to have a big list, and then it got small, and then you had troubles. And I know you've had some of the long-term guys have retired finally after 30,
Yeah.
40 years, whatever.
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
getting a good
I'm
crop?
currently, right now, I'm at 34.
Uh-huh.
I do have one applicant on file right now, and I had a discussion with him 2 weeks ago. We're probably gonna wait until March before we do anything. We'll interview him in mid-February, but March, because we just put 2 new gentlemen on in January.
Okay.
So we don't, it's kinda, you get too many guys in there and you don't wanna make sure you spend the time that you need to with the new guys.
I'm
But
still amazed at what you guys do and the commitment, because as I travel around the state, we're probably the only one I can think of that doesn't have several full-time firefighters.
yeah.
And yet, we're getting the
We
same
did-
level of service.
I kinda watch our average
Yeah.
on calls, Our average right now, we average 21 to 23 guys for every call, which I think that's a pretty good number. 3 trucks is usually what rolls out on a call, which is 15 guys, so that gives us that number that we need, you know. I don't know if we'd ever need to increase that, you know, well, you'd have to get people to put applications in to get more volunteers, but
Yeah.
after this gentleman that I have on file right now, I don't currently have any applicants,
Okay.
but we do have a bunch of good guys.
Is it all
right now.
word of mouth? Or, I mean, you guys obviously don't advertise or anything, but do you?
It is mostly word of mouth. It's kind of a standing joke as you put a new man on, his job in the next year is to find one applicant, one of his friends, to apply to get involved. Because there is a lot of that, you know? Your buddy applies and then, oh gosh, you know somebody that would maybe want to do that, and that's the way it kind of goes.
Okay.
So yeah, that is generally how that works.
Okay.
Yep.
So how about the average age of your staff? Where are we at here? Keep going up or not?
No,
No,
I
it's
mean,
going down.
right now, currently, out of the last 3 that we put on, they're in the early 20s, which is pretty good. I'd say most of them in their late 20s, mid 30s. So I mean, that's to me, that's a pretty good age. They're all physically fit. I mean, our workout room down at the fire station, it gets used all the time from our younger generation. That's what they do. They come in there and they work out for an hour, and then or during their lunch times, and then they go back to work. And so our weight room that we utilize, that we have in our station, it gets utilized a lot for firefighters.
They got
One of the-
24-hour access to that?
Yeah, they can get anytime. Yep.
Nice.
One of the last gentlemen we just put on in January was a full-time firefighter out of South Carolina, and his credentials was really good. So he's a good resource to put on.
A salaried.
He was down there.
firefighter
Yep.
there.
Yep. He currently works at
Kinda curious how
Pella
he ended
now.
up in Carroll.
I married somebody locally,
Okay.
from somebody local, and moved back. So yeah, he was very excited to get on. So yeah. So that's where I kind of base our wages off. The fireman is off of 100 calls for the year. And that generally covers, you know, if maybe at the end of the year I run into some expenses or breakdowns or something, I can use some of that resource money to cover some of those costs in that too, so, yeah. As you go down the line, again, training expenses the same. Building expenses, that jumped just a little bit because of, I got quotes to replace our door seals on all of our overhead doors, which if you come down there sometime, there's about a 6-inch gap on every door that the weather stripping is gone, so just needs to be upgraded. Other than that, everything else is pretty standard. The office supplies, I did put in my budget for a new computer for myself. I've been having lots of issues with my computer, and Laura can attest to that, so that was kind of a thing to get along with, go with that.
What's the miscellaneous supplies? What would come under that?
So my miscellaneous supplies, and it's a menagerie of things. Fire trucks, pumps are to be annually tested. Our aerial has to be annually certified. Our air packs have to be certified. The cascade system in the station needs to be certified.
Okay.
And then out of that, again, I have physicals for firemen. We do a lot of kids that come through the fire station. I think this year, I bet we probably had close to 700 or 800 kids go through the station. So we hand out the little fire helmets and coloring books and stickers and things like that. So that comes out of there also, out of my miscellaneous supplies.
Would be a line item, just because it's 10%, it's almost 10% of your budget,
I'm sorry.
of your entire budget, that $15,000. It's almost 10% of your entire budget is just in miscellaneous. And it seems like every year it goes, you know what I mean?
Now, included in that miscellaneous, like this last year, it was at 18, I had, air packs replaced. I had the new SCBA masks, to be replaced. And that's kind of where all that stuff goes.
The reason why they're that way is because of more the software than anything else. So trying to change, and typically with our miscellaneous stuff, it's stuff that would be more 1 or 2 off type stuff, so that if we were to make a line item, and create an entire another line item, that would be, we'd be making a line item for one purchase and then another one purchase. So it's just more of a,
Well, some of the stuff you said was annual, right?
well, they are, but it'd be like once a year, twice a year type thing. So I don't want to.
And they're different categories too, whether it be
Right.
the aerial certification or the
So it'd
the
be
cascade systems.
labor intensive wise. It'd be more for Laura to have to change those things, keep track of those things in different line items, as opposed to having those things and knowing that they're in the miscellaneous line item for her.
So in an audit, that's never
That's
questioned?
where I'm at in my life. It's like, you guys
Never.
must get away with something we don't. Because that's the first thing they look at when they audit me.
No, we don't
is
get those.
miscellaneous.
In the real business, we don't get those miscellaneous columns.
We get audited every
good.
year, and they look at all. They always take care of those things, and they never question it.
That's awesome. Well, good for you.
Okay.
I have one question here, Dan. Under vehicle order, operation supplies and repairs and maintenance of vehicles, is that all just fire trucks and your everything
all
that you
fire
use?
trucks.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. That's the only one I had. Thank you.
Any questions on the fire department side?
Thanks, Dan. Keep up the good work, man.
Then we can go into the building department.
Okay.
I'd just like to add, as an employer, I mean, we had several people in our team in Rock City that were on our local volunteer, and it's awesome that employers allow their employees to leave to go fight a fire and pay them. So,
Currently, if we get a call during the day, Pelicorp is pretty generous. There's 5 guys that run out of that building when there's a fire call, so that,
Yeah. the public needs to understand that. That's awesome.
Okay, and then the building department, just kind of the things we accomplished last year, we did finally get this year, we did get our building code updated. We also implemented the preventative maintenance program, which we are starting to work on pretty actively here in the near future. And then with Chris coming on board, trying to get his certification will be a big help too. So, and he is currently working on that. This time of year is an opportune time for him to do his studying and try to get those tests taken. So he is.
We still have the guy coming out of Des Moines for the
Yep,
electrical
and you'll
stuff.
see that in my budget.
Okay.
In here, there's a little bit of a jump there. So
He was
yeah.
really good. I mean,
We get different gentlemen
okay.
on, just depends upon who's available to come our way. So it varies, but all of them are very, I mean, I just amazed that they rattle what they rattle off and what they point out, so it is amazing. So that's a huge learning tool for us, you know.
I hear a lot of good things about Chris too. I talk to contractors pretty regularly and they're impressed.
So far, he has a real good working environment with him, and compared to our old one to the new one, I mean, he's a little stricter on our permitting and work being done and things like that, and it's taken a little bit, but we are moving forward with some of the contractors, so yeah, he is doing a really good job. Yeah.
Can we expect this year some of these things, because I know there's things that need to be checked off.
I would expect here fairly quickly on the most important one. He's doing a good job getting up to speed on the electrical side. We're pretty comfortable with where he's at right now, and he's getting there.
I talked to him not too long ago. He was taking some practice tests online
Yep.
and wasn't quite there, but was dangerously close, it
Yes.
sounded like.
Yeah, it's,
He knows a little bit more than being just enough to be dangerous.
and I'll be very honest, I mean, as we hired Chris and we interviewed people, I told Chris that, I said, you didn't promote yourself very well in your interview, because he is a lot more knowledgeable than I anticipated getting, so he's doing very well.
Good job.
Good.
Yeah.
From, I guess, all of us.
Yeah.
Well, I won't speak for everybody. For me.
You can speak for me.
And so if you want to go to tab F again and on page 91. The revenue categories, that just goes off of when we get the permits, as people fill them out, that's where that comes. I'm not really sure, Laura, the fines and fees? Is that? I don't know if we've ever.
The way it's dropped by.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the, we just, because we had other line items in different departments named that. That would be if somebody is charged for a cleanup. Either we had to mow their yard or.
The
clear
nuisance
sidewalk.
abatement.
That's where we're coding the revenue when that person pays.
So do we just start
That's what
doing
that is.
that, or is it?
Yeah, it was switched
We
from
used to
the
have it
police
from the police
department to
department.
now the building
Okay.
code
Yeah.
last fiscal year, right?
2 years we went.
Current.
First time.
Current
Yeah.
fiscal year.
Yep, yep.
We went all the way up. Okay. How much are those fines each about, or do they range?
It's not usually defined, it's mostly.
It's the cleanup.
It's a cleanup cost, yeah.
Then we throw a $75 administrative fee on top of any of the charges that we send out. So that's the fine, is the $75.
So we're doing pretty good then on these.
Do we still have a lot of repeat customers on that?
I don't get involved as much as I did before. I don't.
It hasn't been bad this year.
Good.
Okay, yeah,
I
good.
mean,
Well, we haven't had a lot of
some of them,
either.
well, we have the one that was pretty regular.
I remember we used to have some
But,
with the junk on the property that,
Yeah.
I remember we had Quants come with trailers and loaded them one
You know,
time.
that's kudos to the public though, that they're, you know, they're taking care of their.
We try
yeah.
to keep,
You know what I
again,
mean?
as Rick
Rick
tours
does a
the
lot of that.
city, I mean,
Yeah.
and we try to keep on top of it.
I will tell you, the
He knocks
feedback,
on the doors.
the feedback I get is what Rick's doing with his job, fixing up this particular home. The surrounding homes are the ones that are calling and saying thank you.
Yeah. We have a couple of people that we struggle to get
But
things
overall,
done, but yeah.
I just overall shows a trend that I think that we are, ultimately the public is doing, because, you know, we don't want government in our things, and they're doing.
They're helping
So
out.
kudos to.
Just setting a bar that people are
Yeah.
getting accustomed to
That's what
and
we need to get back to,
maintaining.
just in America's alone, is taking, you know what I mean? Taking ownership for our own things, and, yeah, so that's good, that's promising to see.
Further down the line, our travel and conference, that's just our credits for continuing education. We try to get to those every year. Repair and maintenance of the 2 vehicles. I'm not really sure hopefully that won't be all of that, but we should be good.
Have those held up for you fairly well, the used police cars?
Yeah, I think that was a big,
Good.
yeah.
Only give them the good ones.
And they're hybrids too, so that, I mean,
Yeah,
our
one that
fuel
wasn't
has
very good.
gone way down too.
I imagine your
so-
gas mileage is a lot better, because theirs are idling a lot with traffic stops and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore with the hybrids.
Oh, yeah, they shut
Yeah.
down.
I'm gonna ask you this question solely because if I grab everyone's phones in here and I go to subscriptions, there's probably gonna be subscriptions that we're paying for that we don't know. The dues and membership, 450, is it like a
So
specific?
that is basically our ICC, or that isn't the right, code council. So that's basically where that goes to. And I think Rick belongs to one for the, nuisance abatement
Doing
stuff
better than the average American.
that he goes to. So there's only 2 of them that we are affiliated with.
Okay,
Yep.
just wanna make sure it wasn't the newspaper coming in that.
No.
You know, that we
No.
never, or the People magazine or whatever it is.
So the major one there that my expense that I have down on the bottom is the consultant and professional fees. That is for the V&K. We're averaging around $2,800 to $3,400 a month for inspections coming through.
Now, once Chris gets certified, will this go away then, or will it just get reduced?
So as soon as he passes his electrical, we can dismiss the V&K,
But you've got this budgeted basically for the whole year as a safeguard.
just for the safe side of it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then that nuisance abatement, which is from Brad's side when we inherited all of that cost, so.
So you office supplies at 2,300, just, is that for like maps and stuff, or
Say that again?
2,300 for office supplies?
Oh, so the office supplies, in there, that is another, there's that majorly went up just because of the, like, well, it didn't go up, I guess. Is Rick's computer is on its last life also, so mine is a 70-30 split between building and fire, but Rick's would be a total one out of there, out of that part of it. That's and basically the other office supplies, we don't really have anything in that part. That's basically our computers.
So Dan, I have a question on repairs and maintenance of vehicles. So you have 2 vehicles listed under the city list.
Yep.
Now you have 3 because of yours, right?
That will go under the fire whenever it comes, not under the building side.
Because it used to be split, your car allowance was split.
Well, yeah, we probably will split it 70-30, yeah.
Okay. But then, so like repair and maintenance, you have 4,000 budgeted. So for the 2 vehicles on this list, we had, under building, insurance of 889. Just insurance. So that's where I guess when I was asking those questions a while ago, is like, where do you account for fuel used, any other repair and maintenance, insurance, things like that? Like, I feel like some of that's getting lost somewhere.
And are you repairing a vehicle with the increase of from 2,500 to 4,000 this year?
Because I went from the 1 vehicle to the 2. And as you look back in the other years, I mean, it runs 1,000 for the oil changes, and I had to put some tires on vehicles. So I'm just, again, we just hopefully we don't have to.
So does your fuel run in this category as well?
Yes. That'll come, I'm pretty sure that comes out of the maintenance vehicles.
So Lori, you shook your head there. So in there is insurance, fuel, and any.
Insurance actually for any of the vehicles are not in any specific department. Each individual department, we have one category, one department that's insurance for citywide. And so we can talk about that when we talk about the financial side, admin side of stuff. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Let's go to administrative. Yeah, why don't you do
We spend
that?
$1,000 per vehicle per year on just oil changes?
No, last year I had to put, in that 1 car, what did I have to do?
Water pump on water.
That was
Yeah.
2 years ago.
You say you're spending that much,
I
you
want
want
Tires.
Bobby's.
I had to put tires on 1 of the vehicles this last year.
Okay.
Our fuel's pretty cheap. We get it through the county, and so we
Yeah.
get it we don't pay taxes on it. We pay 10 cents per gallon administrative fee to maintain the systems, and that's all the city vehicles go through that option. So we did look at, I looked quite a few years back about going private and getting Casey's cars, wherever it could be,
Yeah.
couldn't compete.
Because these city cars are just saying in the city limit, really.
Yep.
For the most part,
Most of
except
them,
for-
yeah.
For travel, I see the travel on here.
So when you
When
go,
they go to conferences and stuff, they'll take the car.
when you're going through
You know.
Casey's, you're paying 38 cents a gallon for road use tax, where here you're not.
Yeah, we reached out to, more local, like chemists and trees to try to see what kind of breaks they would be able to get if we did it through the city. And they could get some, but we weren't able to compete with what we're able to get it through the county. It was just a kind of a good faith effort to make sure that we were on the right track at that time, and we definitely are. It'd be tough to look anywhere else.
No, I appreciate it, just, dang, I mean, that's a lot of laps around the city to go through $1,000 in oil changes.
But that's what it takes too, you know. Keeping up with nuisances or
How often do we get oil changes on our vehicles?
catch building things and.
We used to do the police cars every month. Brad said they switched every other
If
month now.
it's a hybrid, we're every other month. If it's still a regular motor, and I don't know, these guys might be different, but.
Is there like a standard on how often?
Say a
we
hybrid
get-
like that is probably
Probably miles
6,000.
per
They
gallon.
moved it up to 5,000 on the personal vehicle, but I'm not sure where or 6 months or 3 months? I don't remember.
For servicing them.
Yeah, what are you doing for service with these guys?
Right now, I think I'm at 4,000 miles is what I look at the mileage, which, yeah.
Is that standard across our entire fleet, or is there something is there some kind of standardization of the fleet? So when I had a fleet of government vehicles, there was a standardized letter saying that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
All vehicles
I would say it varies by department on what they feel their needs are. We haven't addressed that from department to department.
Okay. If I'm looking at 4,000 for each department, that starts to, you know what I mean? And if we can,
Sure.
yeah, I guess. But I assume you had a standardization on your vehicles of throughout a fleet of vehicles, there's always a standardization of how often you're getting maintenance tires. Now, things come up, obviously, like transmission goes out or something, you break from that, but yeah. So,
Okay, Laura.
How about some admin?
Okay, I will address you under tab E. We will start with some of the areas that we have not covered yet. Well, under that, what's page 48, the health and social services, when you go to that information, this is where we had some presentations from, we call them our outside agencies. Some of the expenses are paid out of the general fund, some of it is out of local option sales tax. But this is the support for the taxi program, Carroll Area Child Care, RSVP, food pantry, new opportunities, and animal rescue. Those were the organizations that we had been supporting over the last number of years. Any new requests have not been incorporated into this budget proposal. So that would be at council's discretion.
And we've just had the 2 additional requests, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct. The
Elder Bridge?
Elder Bridge and the
Yep.
downtown Child Museum.
So this is open for discussion now?
Yes,
Elder-
if you have questions.
Elder Bridge was
What'd they ask for?
6,000?
6,000.
Animal rescue wanted to go to 7,500.
is that what they decided on? Cause at one point it was 10 grand. We never really got a number on what they wanted.
In this budget proposal, there is not an increase
Okay.
for their request. It's showing flat level funding for
I
everybody.
remember the sheet said 10,000, or she said 10,000, but the thing said,
Yeah.
never really got any clarification on.
I was at the meeting, I think.
Their letter says 75.
Yeah, but she said they wanted 10,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, are there any questions about these funding requests?
I mean, my biggest question is on the animal rescue, are they moving towards taking over some of this, the removal of these, or not removal, but the taking care of these stray
I don't
animals?
think so.
Don't they work in concert with the vet clinic?
How
Like
much are we paying the vet clinic?
7,800?
It's, yes, it's,
$650 a month.
$650 a month.
Yeah.
And from what I understood from the Animal Rescue League is they did not have any interest in taking over our impound of the animals. And currently they do get, if an animal is not claimed at the vet clinic, then it does get to their system once it goes through the vet process.
And the vets are open available 24/7.
Yeah, we have access to a indoor kennel that we put animals in, cats or dogs, whatever it could be, chickens randomly.
We look at like Ames and stuff, I believe it was, and those, their animal rescue does, or they receive funding, but they take care of the strays and all that.
I don't know, I can't answer, I don't,
Do you have that
recall.
conversation?
I think it was,
I remember looking into it, but I don't remember.
I know some of them actually have their own facility.
Well,
Iowa
yeah,
City
like
has their own
Ames-
facility.
Ames, West Des Moines, Des Moines, they all have their own actual facility for probably
Personnel,
short-term
yeah.
personnel.
Okay.
So Elder Bridge they wanted 6 grand. They've never come here before because they've always had federal funding and now they got cut out a lot of that.
I think I would like to see from them, what is their operating cost, you know? Everybody says they're getting cut funding, but, you know, what is it? Like, what was the prior year versus this year? Nobody's showing us any numbers. You know, they just are asking for money because they were cut, but what was the cut? And I think that's only fair to ask for those numbers if they're asking us for money on behalf of the taxpayers. So I'd like to get that information. Even like new opportunities on here, just because I've not done this before, like what are we funding at new opportunities, what portion?
They gave us, you know, a good summary of what they're spending in Carroll, but if you go online, their annual report is online
For-
for 2025.
Elderbridge?
It's called Elderbridge Agency on Aging. They cover 29 counties. And their whole, they have pie charts on their funding, the trends that are going on, all the different programs they offer. And basically, what they've said, they're mainly funded by federal and, federal and state grants, a small amount of Medicaid. And what they said, the last 10 years, it's been flat, is what I mean, it's all online, you can read it. Basically, they have never come to us, and the lady that represented them said that all the money would stay local, they use local vendors for food, etc. I mean, they get millions of dollars from state and federal funding. And federal grants are the biggest, the Old American Act federal grant. Then they get state of Iowa grants, smaller federal and state grants, and basically over half their budget is funded by federal and state grants. So
Do you know
it's
why they
all
took
in
cuts?
their deal. So
I'll look at it, but does it say why they took such a cut? Did they have to come down to the city now?
it doesn't say why, it just argues and gives numbers, but their funding uses are health and aging nutrition, home and community-based services. I mean, it lays out in their information what they do, the services they provide. So, if the money is staying all in Carroll, great. And if they're using local people to supply the food, they work with a lot of volunteers and so on. But I don't know, I had a hard time working through their numbers, trying to figure out, you know, their cover sheet they gave us is very detailed, and, they say the total documented value in Carroll is $74,667. Given the services they provide, their financial report says also that there's nothing in here about it being means tested. They just, when someone calls, they try and provide a need, whether they need, excuse me, a ride to a doctor, if they have meals they serve, etc. Really nothing about means testing, but then they also take goodwill donations from people that need services. It's kind of like I don't know, maybe you know more, Laverne, than I learned. I don't know. I'm conflicted because they are a huge bureaucracy. But if they're doing something good for our elderly in Carroll, I could see, you know, participating at whatever the council felt. I wasn't convinced about the 6,000, to be honest with you.
Does anybody remember, she said that the county was gonna donate. Does anybody remember if she said an amount or,
No.
because
County did not do it.
The
She also said she
county
was
turned
gonna
it down.
approach area
they
towns.
didn't? Okay,
Am
okay.
I right? She she said she was going to approach all these other counties, but how she'd have
Other
time-
cities and,
Other cities.
yeah,
I don't know how she'd have time to do it.
I don't
just-
know.
I thought that night even, that's what I'd like to know is if we're going it alone.
well, that's why I asked the question about the county, because the one email that we all received made kind of a good point, similar to the comm center deal. 40-some% of the county tax base comes from us, so if the county's already donating, then we donate again, we're getting a double whammy, kind of.
Yeah, are you talking about the Children's Museum? Because
No,
I
No,
remember-
I was talking about this Elder Bridge,
Elder Bridge.
yeah.
Right, Elder Bridge is-
Scott Johnson that night said the county has been supporting them for years.
That I don't know, I just remember somebody saying something about the county contributing.
Supporting Elder Bridge?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, Carroll, on the front sheet of the paper, does it say how many residents of Carroll residents are, I don't have mine in front of me. I don't remember seeing if it said how many residents in Carroll are utilizing this.
They, in their 2025 report, in the cover sheet, 189 Carroll residents were served, representing 11,204 in local service value. 26 residents received in-home services totaling 5,810 in value. I'm not understanding the value they've added,
Yeah.
but they served, and then they served 9,065 meals in 25. So, they're,
Now, is that a Meals on Wheels thing, or is that the deal at the rec center, or where are those meals happening? I wasn't clear on that.
I don't think there's anything from us or at the rec center that we're doing with Elder
yeah,
Bridge.
they're,
You know, I'd almost urge somebody from the public that's
They
utilizing this to come.
Wait, what's that?
You know,
they
and tell us.
delivered the meals.
So it's like that
my
Meals on Wheels
understanding
thing?
Yeah,
from
it's
this.
volunteers
Yeah,
delivered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
Meals on
it's
Wheels.
their
No.
healthy
Right,
aging
that's way
program,
bigger.
home delivered meals, provide to homebound, older adults by a volunteer delivery person. They do some congregate meals and, so on, so. I mean, they are providing nice services to our elderly, and if they're alone and don't have family around, I think it would be good to help. But again, I'm not convinced of the 6,000.
It would be nice to know what they would plan to, if we would
Yeah.
give something, what they plan to
Well,
use
I
it
would
for. It's
expect-
not like they just wanna supplement their budget from what their cuts.
Right,
Yes.
I think, and if they're asking this much from the 29 counties, they're, I don't know. Maybe they're taking on too much.
Sounds like we need to bring her back in.
Well,
Yeah.
I can certainly contact her
Yeah.
between now and Monday, so
Yeah.
when we have and get that try and get as much information out of her about what money she's bringing in from other counties, and then, of course, what her plan is with this dollar amount that she's asking from us.
I have a PDF of their report if anybody wants me to just send it as an attachment. No comments, no discussion, are open. If anybody wants it, let me know.
We can send them one at a time.
And I will clarify, I just asked Mike, he said the county did fund, but I've asked what the amount was. I've not heard back.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
fine.
what-
I did think Scott said that, didn't he? He said that night, that they funded it.
Mike said the county did fund, but I've asked how much, he's not replied.
Okay,
I apologize, Supervisor, I misspoke, I thought they did not.
Yeah, I thought,
Shit.
Well, Scott was back there, I thought he said, yeah, he-
And I
yeah.
thought he said they've been doing it for years.
I don't think they did an increase, though.
That could be, I don't know if they necessarily talked about a dollar amount or he didn't specify.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out before
At the
Monday.
end of the day, I think everyone can agree. that
You'll
we
find
don't
out before
have
Monday
enough
what the
information.
council-
I'll get that information.
He's in Oklahoma, I don't know.
To make a decision.
That was the one
that?
I guess you
answer.
We
won't
don't have
find out.
enough information
That's
on
fine.
it, like,
Well, yeah, it's your guys' decision on if you wanna add it or not, so. Okay, why don't we take a lunch?
I guess, are we done with maybe this topic?
That topic we are, unless we wanna discuss the Children's Museum at this time, but otherwise we're at a break.
Right, I just wanna make sure we're done with this topic before we would
Sure.
be
Right.
done with, yeah. before
so
we-
we need to talk about the Children's Museum then?
Do you need to at this point?
I'm good, Chris.
You good with the status quo?
Yeah, you know,
And, you See what I'm
Or,
getting at?
yeah, I guess coming with that, I think we owe it to them, maybe even to say, at the end of the day, of buying a building for a business is a very, very slippery slope that I don't feel that government should interfere with. I think that, I've talked about it up here a lot about the free market and stuff like that, that if we are paying for buildings for businesses, where does it end?
Okay, does anybody feel any differently about it?
About adding, I would
About
just say,
adding
you
something.
wanna add that to the.
Well, the other reason I would look
Budget.
at is we really need to see what state legislature is gonna do with our revenue.
And that's a lot.
You know,
That's a
some of
big
these,
ask.
you know, $5,000 one you probably could have do, but $125,000 when they're going to slash our amount of money that we get is, that's, you gotta be wary of that.
Okay.
Cause it sure looks like the 2% is gonna go through, cause everybody's got it on their list.
And I think it's a great idea. I encourage the public to maybe donate to it and stuff like that. It's just
Support
interjecting the government into the buying of property for a business is not something that I'm interested in.
I'm on the same page, so.
I agree with that.
Okay. Anybody else
So,
agree with that?
let's take a break if we're ready. All right? Resume our meeting and start and go to Parks and Rec now. We're not done with administration, but it's best to get this maybe done tonight, and then if we feel we have enough time, we'll finish up administration on Monday night after, during our next meeting. So go ahead, Chad.
Sure, sounds good. We'll get started on page 51 for the cover sheets. For the general line items, that is 116 and 117. Excuse me. A lot of the revenues are going to stay the exact same. If you'll see in the re-estimate for intergovernmental, that's 11,200. That was a DNR grant that we received earlier in 2025. That was put on a federal pause. We just got notification that we're full go on that again, so we'll be utilizing that here this spring. Personnel services, not a whole lot has changed. Our total FTEs are going to stay the exact same. The main difference in the 419 versus the 458, we didn't have a superintendent for several months throughout 2025. Now we have somebody hired back and is currently in his position and working. So next page on 52, capital requests. Playground equipment, I have 100,000 set aside. That is not to actually do anything right now. It's to hopefully set up a fund where we put a little bit away every single year. We have 3 or 4 playgrounds that are getting towards the end of life. We're trying to do some repairs to them, what we can, but it's kind of like anything else you purchase. You know, they're changing the shapes of everything so much, so you can't buy a new deck board or stair step that fits for this item. So hopefully starting kind of a small fund to tackle some of those issues. I know the city has done that with trails in the past. Since we don't have any trails being planned right now, figured this would be something that we could start putting money away for.
Is that general fund money?
Yes.
Okay.
Stand-on sprayer, we have 2 very large sprayers, but we don't have anything small that we can just take around fence lines, downtown islands, downtown business district areas. This would be it'd be the same thing you see the lawn care companies utilize right now. It's been brought up several times in the past. I do think it helps us quite a bit in saving time and energy. A lot of the times if our guys have to go out and do around fence lines, buildings, things like that, they often have to utilize backpack sprayers, just walking those areas.
These are weed spraying
Yep.
things?
Yep. Next one would be brush attachment for snow removal. This is another one that we've had requested a lot, just from our guys. Currently for our 2 John Deere snow blowers, you know, we utilize that City Hall, Library, PD, and the rec center along with our trails. The issue with those is they often leave a heavy film afterwards. So this is something that a lot of cities utilize to help really get down to the concrete and minimize coming back and having to scoop and re-sand all the time. So just another thing that we thought would help, especially around some of our local buildings.
Will it help with not putting salt down?
You would still probably have to do some of that, but hopefully not as much.
Depends on the type of snow too.
Correct.
Brushes.
Yep.
Heavy
It won't
wet
work,
snow
it
is
won't
not
work
good.
well in a foot snow unless you're constantly going out.
If you get a powdery snow, it is good with powdery snow.
It's just that salt always
sure.
gets carried into the buildings.
Better than a lawsuit of a broken leg.
Yeah.
Correct.
I was wondering if it took care of it, but it doesn't.
And it's not just a generic attachment, so if you
Correct.
change your mowers or your John Deere snow equipment, it'll still be fine.
Yep, yep. And we order, anything that we do for implements with those 2 machines, it's the same thing. You know, we're gonna keep the same size, we're gonna keep the implements so they can fit on these machines.
So you have 2 stand-on sprayers right now, and then you're.
No,
gonna
we
smaller?
have
Big
one
ones.
that's a pull behind on a tractor and another one that we borrow from the golf course. Now, the one we borrow from the golf course is, I think, a 12-foot boom. I mean, it's a full-on, like, buggy with a 250-gallon tank, so it's not easy to get to downtown areas.
So this stand-on is like a Toro grandstand, something you
Very
stand on?
similar, yep.
And then is there a tank behind it or on the front of it, or how's that work?
The ones we're looking at would have 2 30-gallon tanks, and then I think it's a 100-pound hopper, so we'd be able to still spread our pre-emergence, our post-emergence, our fertilizers.
Okay.
I have a question, Chad, on the revenue side for your shelter house reservations. I got those numbers from you. You know, $40 on a closed shelter and $25 rent on an open shelter. When was the last time those were changed? I mean, that seems
That
very,
is a good question.
economical, and
It's been a long time, and that's one that, like I said, we're planning on changing this year. We've gone through all of our others through cemetery, rec center, golf course, and this was the next one we were gonna tackle. I know we were on the very low side of those, but yeah, that's one we're looking at changing.
right, I mean, because you always have a cleaning fee, et cetera. I
Right.
mean, you have services after they have been rented, and I think you have to get compensated for that, and
Yeah.
$40 is
Yeah, and
pocket
not only
change.
that, we're looking at actually, I think at one time they did do a deposit, but going back to having a deposit on things, because obviously there's some times that things are just left a mess. And we have no recourse of going back.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yep. Another thing that we can talk about, it would be on page 29. We have money in for the Northwest Park, or excuse me. 29. That's what I had written down, that may not be right. But for the enclosed shelter house that we've been discussing, I figured we're talking parks, this would be a good time to bring it up.
What page are we supposed to go to?
Yeah, it is on 29. And this is local option sales tax. You can see down on CP Parks and Recreation, all the way for this upcoming fiscal year, we have 700,000 set aside. That would be for the new shelter house. So I figure since we're talking parks, this would be a time to bring it up.
Where are we at with that as far as the insurance settlement and all that?
That is another great question. So, after shaking the tree a bunch this past couple of weeks, ICAP has come back to me with a possible solution. And that would be, instead of, I think they're realizing how much it's going to cost to fix that up and the potential problems.
I could have told them that
I did tell them
6
that.
months ago.
I told them that 18 months ago. Because remember, we are approaching year 2
Yes.
since this happened. They would like to look at replacement now. So it would be, basically it'd have to offer the same amenities that are there. Basically the same kind of footprint, but doing it on flat land. So if you want to visualize something, think about the shelter house in Veterans Park. So
So would that settlement with the insurance alleviate part of this 700,000, or is this?
nope, so this would be different. The 700,000 would go to an enclosed shelter house that was a
Okay,
priority
in a
by the
different park.
council. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes,
Yeah, we
we'd
wouldn't
probably
put
look at
them
a
next to each
little
other.
bit more utilized park
Gotcha.
to put a Four Seasons or a all year round park or shelter.
Yep.
So we're thinking just a
So this is my
very,
concern with the replacement. Are they just gonna throw up some half-ass shelter house?
No,
You know,
no,
will it be
engineer-
aesthetically pleasing
Nope.
to the
so our
equivalent of the one
plan
that's
to
there?
make sure that this all gets 100% paid for by ICAP
Yep.
is we're gonna have to obviously follow state law. We're gonna have to get it engineered. And once we hit that 60% design, show it to insurance. You tell us what, like, this is exactly what we're thinking of. Like, what's your rebuttal? And then if they have any arguments, we either fight or make amends and just make sure that they are okay. So when we have it built, They're not coming back and saying, oh, well, we're gonna pay for everything minus 100,000.
Please remind them every time we see them, it costs us more money.
So this is still Northwest Park? That this
That
is
will
gonna
be
This one that we're talking about is,
Yes.
yes.
And how
On
many
the
years
flat
ago was
land.
the fire?
Year and a half,
Like,
June 23rd, 24.
So it's gonna be on the flat land?
Yep,
So we're gonna tear down the ones that there now?
yes, if we're not planning to repair.
Generally, the public wants to keep that, they find it aesthetically pleasing. to have.
Correct, but there's a
What's
lot
wrong
of
with that?
issues with fixing it. Under the actual floor, it had so much water damage in previous settlement
Which
that
they won't pay for.
they will pay to rip out that floor in bathrooms, but that doesn't stop the issue of that ground is constantly settling. So we're gonna be fighting it in a couple years anyway.
Chad, what's gonna happen to the limestone? Because I remember the engineers when they came and inspected, and I talked to you about saving a lot of it that was 100% okay for use. Could that limestone to kind of fit with the character that was there, because people in that area have talked to me, they want something, they didn't want anything grandiose, if it could just be rehabbed. That's all they wanted, you know? Is there any way that we can salvage the limestone and use it? I
If
mean,
we do, it would be out of our pocket.
So they wouldn't necessarily approve a structure where we use perfectly good limestone, which
Oh,
would
I'm
be
sure they would allow us to put that on the new facility, but
but
we would be paying
they
to
would
take it
not
off.
pay, we would pay to, well, we still have a bunch saved, right? Some of it.
Of the limestone?
Yeah. Remember the
Not that
guy
I
that,
know of.
we talked about it, and I thought the guy was hauling it out east.
I thought it was in your backyard.
I'll take it.
That's where I
love-
was at with the limestone. I
I
thought it was in
love
your backyard.
limestone.
I-
No,
I don't
I have a
think,
big patio.
if we wanted to keep some of that aesthetic to it, I think taking off as much as we can on one side might not be a bad idea. But I know the east side is completely shot because that's
Yeah.
what
Well,
sustained all the
when
fire damage. I
I-
know that that limestone is very thin,
Right.
so
because
it's
we-
gonna break and bust
It's
No,
okay.
I-
all the
We went
time.
and looked
I
at that
was
limestone.
pretty, what?
We went and looked at that limestone. I know a little bit about older things. The problem is that limestone is so thin and
Brittle.
it's very brittle because it's very old. So as you're taking that limestone off, it's not as easy as just going in and taking that. Those aren't big limestone rocks.
No,
It's
I
gonna
know.
all crumble.
It's
and
the
you're gonna end
side.
up with,
Yeah.
you'll end up with like the side of my house almost with little
Well, yeah.
pellets and mud that you could stick together. So you can't keep it together, all together as we look at
Well,
it.
I know Chad, at my request, had Ron Bernholtz go and look at it. And he explained exactly the same thing you just said, that how thin it is. But I thought that we had the guy that, you know, took things down. I thought we had him save the good stuff that maybe
Oh,
could
it's
be
all
used.
still there. We haven't taken anything down, so.
Oh, so he never did, okay.
I guess what are you
I
trying
would
to
just-
use it for? Cause once it
Well,
comes down,
for-
it's gonna shatter.
For trim, no, it may or may not, I don't know. Ron thought there were some were salvaging, and then the engineers that looked at it said some of it was in really good condition, but I don't know about
It's
if
in
there
good
was some
shape, but
way,
it won't be once you start.
if it's
And it's
just,
gonna be very labor intensive to sit there
Yeah,
and chisel it out.
that's
I
what,
mean,
yeah.
again, that you'd be paying somebody an
So it's
astronomical
just all,
amount to just sit there and chisel
Yeah.
it out.
okay, so that's fine, I just wondered if
I mean,
any of it could be
A route
salvaged.
that could be had is we find a supplier that has something like that and then maybe just do one side of the shelter
Fire.
in
Well,
that, but it
well,
would be on our dime.
We'll see how this plays out. We
Yeah.
wanna just use the insurance money. I thought I read somewhere in here the insurance had settled for like 190. I can't remember what page.
Yeah, well,
But
we have that put
that's
away
up in
to
the
at least
air.
get started with it. Obviously, everything's gonna come out of our pocket and
And
they
then
will
they
reimburse us.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I mean, they'll cut us a $103,000 check just to get started.
Right,
That's their actual cash value,
To
but they
get
are
us-
to pay up to full replacement.
so that gets us going with the engineering then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's all. I won't spread it out anymore. Thank you.
So it's gonna have restrooms and open, like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically to keep a similar size footprint and keeping the exact same amenities that were there, so a shaded area and bathrooms. It's
Yeah.
more or less all that is.
And maybe we could get ADA, but they're,
Well, if it's
These
down
are
on the,
not, yeah.
down on the flat land, that wouldn't be hard to do. You
Okay.
just have a sidewalk going up to those bathrooms.
Wouldn't it be a requirement that we made it ADA
Yes.
accessible?
Yeah.
if it's brand new, yeah.
Cause I originally wanted to keep a fireplace, but my fireplace is a nice touch to it. The problem is that once you start
Yeah.
getting in
Yeah.
there, it's, I mean, it's
We
an absolute.
We could request having a fireplace in the new shelter, but history has kind of shown us that that's not always a great thing to have in our open shelters.
Oh, that had a lot of
Lightning hit this
wood.
one, you know?
Yeah, that's good point.
Yeah, so.
Good point.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep,
But this 700,000's for the new one, right?
Correct.
Okay,
We
this
set,
has
we
nothing
set
to
it
do with-
aside.
no, it has nothing to do with the insurance claim.
Nope.
Okay.
Any other questions on parks before I move on? Okay, we'll go to 53 in your cover sheet, which would be 118 and 119 on the other. Golf course, if you remember right, we raised rates for this year about 5%. We had another very, very good year at the golf course. Everything is trending up nationwide with golf, so it's a really good time to be around golf. For miscellaneous revenues, you can see in reestimate, I only have 1,700, and the next time, the next budget, we have 15,000. That is all of our ad signs, our T signs, our scorecards. We started going to a 3-year system. Some elected to do 3 years, some did 1. So next year, basically 90% of our sponsors are coming up on renewal, so that just reflects that.
What the shared field with Kemper, are
Oh, the
the ads that are there?
driving range,
No, the softball field,
okay,
field 6 or whatever. it
field
is.
7.
7. There's ads on the, out there, correct?
Not on the Kemper field, it's
Okay.
just a Kemper banner. We do have ads on all of our other fields,
Okay,
but that goes through leisure services.
okay.
Yep.
Is there a reason why there aren't any banners on that field?
On field 7, just because we lease it to Kemper, so they just put the Kemper banner all the way around it. I mean, if they wanted to, it's in the contract, they could.
How much is that lease?
They could what?
It's like $1
Put
or
ads.
something? isn't it?
No, it's $1,800,
Yeah, something like
I wanna say.
And they maintain it and everything now?
They do all the chalking and everything, we drag it once a day, get it ready for their game, just like everything else, all the other fields.
How much is one of those advertising spaces there for?
On ours, or one of the golf courses.
No, I'm just saying on any of those fields, how much on the fence, how much do they charge for advertisement out there?
We have different levels, I think our highest, our like platinum sponsorship is $1,500.
Okay.
And then it goes down to just t-shirt sponsors for 150. So anywhere in between, some of them include those sponsorships.
I was gonna say,
Well, we don't have them on
they're going
every
for 20
field. just
grand a
be-
pop, then guess
yeah.
what, Kemper's gonna play with some banners up there.
I would say if we ran out of room, I mean, no one's requesting certain fields unless they know they have a kid that only plays on field 3.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
How about under services there, Chad, like, and even on your parks, on your first one, there's a decrease in services, what is being cut on services?
A couple different areas on parks. Let me pull that back up. It was mainly due to a couple of different areas. So in re-estimate for this year, you know, I told you about the DNR grant. Well, we also have to purchase things for that. So if you look at landscaping, it shows 20,200 for this year, and then goes back down to 9,000, which is kind of our normal amount. That's probably the main difference. Yeah, that'd be about the main difference in parks.
I have a question off topic real quick. That, the special needs contract that we signed, how is that?
Can play.
Yeah, how is that going?
It got off to a good start. We've obviously learning more and more about our local community and some of our participants. We started with soccer, that had a pretty good turnout. Then we went to, I think it was basketball. And we found out that there were several that couldn't do basketball because of muscular issues. Thankfully, they have some more coming out here in the next couple of weeks, so we'd be able to do like track and field. They've come out with floor hockey. They came out with like 3 or 4 new ones this year that
I bring that up
would
because
allow us to.
that's one of those reoccurring year to years. I just wanna make sure that it's being, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not a People magazine at a doctor's office, it keeps on getting delivered, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's being utilized, that's.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
awesome and great.
And we've been working with like Kristen Lundstrom,
Okay,
and she has a special needs camp throughout the summer, and really looking at. We wanted to start off with the kids. We know we have a lot of adult aged clientele, so we'd really like to start with the youth and then expand from there.
okay.
Even partnering with Special Olympics and trying to get some stuff like that lined up as well.
I just wanna make sure we're getting the value out of it, that,
Yeah.
cause it seemed like a great, it did seem like a great.
Yeah.
It's safe to see
It
anyways.
was off to a slow start. We did talk to some families that didn't decide to participate, and I think there was just some nervousness with it being new and
Yep.
some shyness with the kids never being able to do stuff like this before, so we're hoping it continues to build.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Yep.
Sorry, that was off topic.
Nope,
but I
you're
just-
good. The main one for the golf course, was actually due to a billing issue. If you see the reestimate for service commodities, and it drops about 21,000, somewhere in there. Every year we pre-order all of our spring fertilizer, our spray, everything, so we get a bulk rate. It's a lot cheaper that way. Well, they didn't bill us until like late June. So then it got paid in July on this budget. So we just re-estimated that amount from the previous year into this budget to help cover that. And then we're basically staying right where we were.
Your miscellaneous contract labor, I'm gonna hit you up on that, hit everybody up on it.
So that would be all of our aerating. So we're doing spring and fall aeration.
We don't do that in-house?
We do not.
Okay,
Nope. And then on top of that, that's all of our blowout for irrigation and then startup procedures.
okay.
That's basically the 4 that come out at garbage.
I see dredging ponds is in there somewhere, right?
Not quite in that one. but
Okay,
What's the startup procedure? What do you?
Basically, since it's a brand new, we did factor in a little bit to have Watertronics come in and help us with startup, since we've never really started it up our own. So just making sure it's not that big of an expense, but having them come and
so that expense should come down next year once we figure
it
out
should,
the.
yeah.
Okay,
We just have a local contractor do the aerating and the blowing out the sprinklers.
The closest one that we have is, that does it commercially, would be, it's out of Fort Dodge, I believe.
is there a
So-
reason why we don't do it ourselves?
The equipment's expensive.
Okay.
It'd be awesome to have our own. We have a very small one, but it's a small walk behind that allows us to do small areas. For doing that kind of square footage, it takes a full commercial unit.
Okay.
And
Pull behind
those are
that
not
soon?
cheap, and maintaining them aren't
No,
cheap,
yep,
so.
yep, yeah, I get it. I figured we had one, so, okay.
Capital requests, a new fairway mower. The 75,000 put away for that is just the actual cost of the mower. So that wouldn't include our trade-in. We have no idea what that trade-in would be worth. It's a unit. We have 2 units like this. They're staggered in age, so we don't have to deal with this every year. This one, I mean, the soonest we could even put something out for it is June or July, and then hope it's within the calendar year to get it in. So a lot of companies, you know, I don't want to try and guess what that amount is going to be, but it's going to be a lot less than 75,000.
How many years would something like that last typically?
These are everydayers, so they're just doing fairways. So they're going out and doing fairways every single day. Generally, we get 8 to 10 years, just depending on how they're holding up.
And they
If
have
they-
some value at the end of that period?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, doesn't matter if they're completely beat up, they still usually hold some value, because a lot of these companies will know that they can trade them off to a smaller 9-hole that may not have the budget.
You're still in the car allowance too?
I am, yes.
The reason why we haven't given, like, I mean, especially for Parks and Rec, you probably just, probably have like
A vehicle for him?
like an SUV, like,
Department heads have always had for
Vehicle allowance.
vehicle allowance for I don't know how long.
Is that because it's
200 a
cheaper than
month?
supplying an actual vehicle?
Well, typically it is.
Yeah.
Especially at the rate that we reimburse our car allowance.
Oh, I thought we were going to, because I thought we were going to get away from it with, I thought we started with Dan, and then I thought there was a trickle-down effect.
Well, Dan's vehicle was more for emergency response, stuff like that. Chad doesn't have that same need with marked vehicles or anything like that, so his vehicle works fine for what he needs it for.
Wish you got better gas, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, well, that was your choice.
But,
You chose that vehicle.
100%.
Not that I wouldn't have chose it. I like that truck.
gas seems to be all right, you're at 346 so far.
246.
So it's 346 on the year, 346.
His car allowance is actually split amongst all of his
Yeah.
departments.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
It's 200 a month?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, all right, that's all I was asking. I'm not taking, well, I'm just, everything doesn't mean I'm gonna strip it all away. I'm just asking if there wasn't, like,
With that fairway mower too, we're actually, I don't want to say downgrading the series from what we have. The original time when we purchased the last one, we went up a series because it had higher horsepower. Found out it wasn't really needed, so we're actually going back down. To keep the same series that we had, I want to say that was 90,000 brand new, just for a fairway mower. So stuff's not getting cheap, I'll tell you that. Cart path construction, now that's a little bit of rehab on some of our current cart paths, along with adding some additional like small areas where we've had some trouble spots, putting that through to kind of help maintain some of our areas instead of them just getting beat up all the time.
That's the 25,000?
That's the 25,000. Yep. Any questions on golf? Okay, we'll go to the next page, rec center.
I thought wasn't there somewhere in here about a golf building?
That's just still put in the
It was,
outlook,
it's in the.
but we've pushed it back another year.
So it's not going this year?
No.
You know where I was going with that, right, Chad? Sounds good.
Well, I saw that too, but so what is that, Chad?
The what?
What is that? The future
shed?
golf building?
So the current shed that they're working out of, oh, I can't even remember. Randy, you remember stuff like that. Do you remember when that was built? Not your department, I get it. I should have remembered that, but it's beat up, worn out. One side isn't even heated. Obviously, since it's been built, we've brought in new equipment. It's just bigger. There's new specializations for the equipment. We've ran out of room. It's getting towards end of life. I mean, we're probably looking at completely replacing the roof very soon.
Well, I'll
I
see,
mean, it's-
Chad, because when we talked about the baseball, remember I specifically asked you, I said, we're gonna put all this money into baseball, and you said, are you willing to forgo the cart? I am. Remember that conversation? And so now all of a sudden I see $400,000 on this for this cart. It's kind of mind boggling that we just had a conversation about the golf shed with the baseball thing, because remember it was $1 million and we're gonna have no big things and no paths and stuff like that. And so how long do you give this current shed?
Who knows?
Okay.
I mean, that's,
You see what I'm saying though? I mean, we did have this conversation, so it's somewhat frustrating on my end, you know?
Yep. but it's why we put a 5-year plan together.
Okay.
Because, I mean, realistically, it's up to you guys when it's okay to do it.
Yep.
We're gonna try and get as much life out of it as we can before we need to tear it down and do something different. This also allows me to go in a little bit different direction. I know we've talked a decent amount, or had some discussions about doing cart sheds as well. That would be another income variable and something that's asked a lot about from our golfers. So there may be some possibility to almost double up on that future project to where we add cart sheds as well as get the different building. Or turn the current building, rehab it a little bit, and turn that into cart sheds. So there is some potential there.
Okay, so it was pushed to next year though?
Yes.
Okay. What page is that on?
It'd be on the 5-year CIP.
It's under tab C.
Tab C, is
Yeah.
that? So that's now removed out of there? See,
So starting on page 31 would be the 5-year CIP reports.
so it's 450,000 starting in 2028. I see that now, okay. Okay, you're good.
Onto the rec center, main increase for rec center memberships, you know, we did that.
What page you on there, Chad?
Oh, sorry, 55. 55, and then following along on the budget side is 120 and 121. Increase in the revenues, that's because we basically packaged what we were doing with our memberships and then also increased prices. That has gone extremely well. We've had a lot of people comment very positive things that we got rid of all the different options and just made it kind of one base price, kind of an all-inclusive package. I personally think that 460 is going to be on the very low side, so we'll see. As of right now, I think we had 93,000 visits in 2025, and right now we're seeing about 10,000 people or check-ins a month for the month of December. I haven't got the final numbers out from January yet, but I would assume it's pretty close, if not a little higher.
So it's up significantly from the year before, is what you're saying.
Not significantly, but it's trending up. But again, December, January is always gonna be our highest months.
The 24-hour pass is one of the reasons.
Mhm.
So New Year's Day, which were normally closed,
People are allowed to
the
come in.
gym was full with pickleball people and the weight room was full on New Year's Day. Because they had that 24-hour entrance from the north side.
Your track looks like it get used a lot as well.
Yep.
So your miscellaneous contract labor?
Miscellaneous contract labor for in here, that is all of our, well, miscellaneous contract labor. That would mainly be trash. There's some stuff with the pool that we lump into that. Just coming in, checking things. Our pest control, things like that. If you're looking on 121, you may see like 3 years ago it was 30,000. That's where we did all the third-party janitorial services out of.
Okay.
And then the maintenance contract and equipment above it, that would all just be our maintenance contracts with the company that comes in and fixes our gym equipment.
And I gotta ask, just because it's the 10 time increase on postal and shipping, I gotta ask, why did that go from $97 to $1,000?
Oh, Yeah, I see that.
Sorry, I had to ask, it was such a big, it's such a big
So,
increase.
I think it's mainly because if we have a pool pump go down that can get worked on, usually we have to send it to Des Moines. Thankfully, we haven't had to. Another one would be our vacuums, sending those in to get rehabbed. But thankfully, again, up until right now, which we have to send one in, that's what that's been for. It's mainly shipping, just in case we have to send one of these units in. That would be expensive.
Okay. So year to date, it looks like we're at 97.3.
So obviously our like regular sending out of flyers and bills and things like that would come out of it too. So that's probably all that is.
Okay,
Our pool samples too.
Pool samples, yep, that's another one.
okay. Makes sense. I just seen such a large jump, that's why.
I have a question on page 120. You have repairs and maintenance of buildings and I can't really, I don't know what that is, but for 22,000. And then on the next page, you have buildings and grounds operating and maintenance. So can you just tell me what the difference is between these?
That is a great question. If you go back and look at parks, we've actually combined the two. For me, it just made more sense just to have one line item where I could go and check everything because like, just like you asked, what's the difference between repairing and maintenance of buildings versus grounds and operational maintenance, buildings, grounds, and operational maintenance? I'm sure there was a justification a while back, like, you know, one only has to do with the actual facility structure, the other one is just day-to-day maintenance and equipment.
So on here, one is at 22,000 for next year and the other line is 47,000. And you said you're gonna combine them or are you gonna leave them separate?
We could look at it. Like I said, we did it in parks. It's because it got confusing because everything just folds into one. But now that you're just doing a singular building, so things that I would put in 23-100, which is the repair and maintenance of buildings, would be any HVAC work that we have, any plumbing that is needed, where more of the operational maintenance, the 250-66, would probably be more like, you know, that's where your cleaning supplies is coming from. That's where your air filters, your day-to-day stuff that's all coming out of that.
We have a
line item.
full-time, we have a maintenance guy down there, we're still having to do that much outside maintenance?
Well, he's an
This seems like a
electrician,
very
so I
odd-
mean, if something goes wrong with plumbing and we have to call in somebody to completely run our lines, we had, I think 3 backups a month ago. People flushing stuff they shouldn't. Backed up our entire system, so having to call in, you know, a plumbing company to come and snake it out.
Was that like vandalism type stuff or just people being dumb?
Yes.
Not that that ever
Sometimes they
happens.
pull out T-shirts. Sometimes they find, yeah, it's just,
But
What's the
people being
value of the
dumb.
building if it's costing that much just for a full-time maintenance guy and
You
that
don't
much
know what it
maintenance?
is.
well, the maintenance guy isn't just for the rec center. He does everything in the city.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but we have a maintenance guy and we're still spending that much on maintenance, it seems like, you know, and love the maintenance guy, does a great job, I'm just,
Is he just billed through the rec center?
Laura has his breakdown. Andy.
You know what I'm saying?
A third out of rec
100 grand is
center
the-
and 2/3 out of the general government section of the budget.
I don't know, that just seems a little high to me to have a full-time maintenance guy and that much maintenance still budgeted in each year for a bill, like, that's a quick way to go broke.
Was Bob in on that too? That number?
Bob's fully paid out of this,
Yeah.
out of the rec center. Yep.
But he's not in this line, he's up here on wages.
Correct, but so would Andy.
Yeah, so there's 2 of them down there, it just seemed,
These are just.
am I the only one that feels like it's a little higher, or like for the amount of maintenance that we're budgeting for, plus we have 2 individuals down there? Just me?
No, I mean, I think I thought it was high and that's why I was confused about the 2 accounts. So maybe, Laura, I can just come to you and get a little breakdown of what's in there? Like if that's how you run it, you would have like
For
be
the
able
most
to.
part, like I said, the buildings and maintenance side, you know, that's, again, I know Andy does a lot of the work himself, so I mean, if he has to buy a new chem feeder, that's going to that. If he has to buy, we just had to buy new chemical tanks first time in 15 years because they were just falling apart. That comes out of there. That's generally where a lot of that stuff would come out of, whether it is a third party or it's us doing the work inside.
All right.
So it looks like one was at 8,000 and 25, 26.
That's
No,
what we're
that's
in
our
right
current.
now.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
where
what
we're
we're
at
at
now.
right now.
We're already at, and then, man, that's,
It's just big numbers.
and then we also have contracted labor to fixing of another 10 grand.
Or
Yeah,
are
that
these
would be all
numbers
of
through the end
our-
of
That would be all
December?
of our weight equipment.
They are through basically the end of January.
Okay, the re-estimates are, okay.
So we have 2 employees that we're paying full-time, plus this add-on, it just seems. Okay.
Well, if you look at the trend, the 23, 24, 30,004, I mean, it's come down significantly from 23, 24, 24, 25.
Yeah, I see that it come down, but it's still an extremely high number to have 2 employees down there, plus that much maintenance outside.
Is
That's-
Bob a
Well, it's
maintenance
not
guy?
that- Are you thinking that those numbers are for like bringing a third party in to do?
No, I
something?
don't,
No,
I
this
don't
is,
know
yeah,
what
just for
they,
the cost of different things that need to be fixed and maintained. I'm looking through the detail right now.
Oh,
Air
is
filters,
it?
Paint supplies, cleaning supplies and everything, yeah, between the 2 different line items.
we gotta find a way to get the cost of maintaining that building down.
Well, you gotta remember, it's a 48-year-old
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
building, and I
it is.
mean, the good thing is,
It
it's
just
really
redone.
helped us
The
a
problem
lot.
is that it was just redone and we're still.
Well, I
it
think
wasn't
that's
necessarily
what's-
completely redone.
I mean, some of it, but
Some of it was.
I know one of our,
It's-
it saved us a ton of money by switching out our HVAC and cooling systems.
But
You
that's
remember,
is
those
that in
were all
here?
original.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be anything included in that. So that's why you're seeing a big dip from, 22,000 to 17,000 to kind of where we're at now. I know that number used to be a lot higher because we had so many issues with our
It
HVAC.
was so old, I
Mm-hmm.
remember that.
Oh, they were original to the building. They were 45-year-old units.
That's what, 1977?
Somewhere in there.
Now, just kind of, we as staff understand where you're coming from, but, kind of remember, this is, you as a board are the policymakers. We're doing the best we can to maintain what we can, and if that direction is, hey, let's try and do that, we can certainly do that, but the weeds of it, or I should say, day-to-day stuff, we'll take care of that and we'll work within your policy.
Well, it seems high to me is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
saying I'm digging in the weeds. That seems extremely high to me. I don't know if it seems extremely high to somebody else to have 3 people down there plus this chunk of change. Is where I'm at, I guess.
Sure.
Do anyone agree with me, not agree with me?
I guess I'm not completely familiar. We've got Bob and Andy. Andy's kind of a citywide maintenance guy. Bob is kind of janitorial, minor maintenance. Is that
Yep.
fair? Or? Okay.
And I'm not saying that them down there aren't doing what, it's just, it's flabbergasting to me that, you know what I mean, it costs that much to maintain.
You also gotta
a building.
remember how many, miles of piping is in that building. All the electrical, all the phone issues that we have would go into there as well. All the, HVAC that we once were dealing with and not so much dealing with now. And then on top of it, you throw a fully automated pool. That's a majority of it. I almost
Cleaning
can,
supplies, you're open to the public.
No, yeah,
They're your members,
I
so
get the
Ah.
text messages that it's closed because.
Fecal incidents?
Yes, I get it. I'm sorry, it's just shocking. Yeah.
So a lot of that expense is actually something we wouldn't be capable of doing. I heard you say plumbing. We don't have the equipment to.
anything that we can fix in-house, we do.
Okay, so these added expenses are things like having to snake out that thing that we don't have the ability to do.
Yep.
So the emphasis you wanna have on is anything we can do possibly, we are, and it sounds like you're trying to do that.
Yes.
As much as we
Okay.
possibly can.
Chad, did you just say too that the swimming pool is a pretty good chunk of this? Because
Oh, it'd be a
in my head,
majority
I'm
of it.
trying to imagine the
Yeah.
expense of a swimming pool. It's got to be huge. But
Yeah,
Especially
I
when
mean-
it's 40 years old.
yeah,
yeah, it's not the most energy efficient
almost 50.
area, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The good thing is with the switchover in our HVAC, we have saved a ton electrically, by switching to gas. And I think that's really brought down quite a bit of our costs at the rec.
And when was that done?
2.5 years ago, it was switched over.
And I guess, so that's where I'm having trouble tracking here, Chad, because, okay, so where you're saying your HVAC plumbing is coming out of this first account. You know, we're at 22,000 and then 17, but then we're at 22. So I'm not seeing any continued savings there. And
Well,
then,
that's just a budgeted amount.
Three of them, actually.
Yeah, those are all just budgeted amounts. We're not hitting those
I'm even higher
numbers.
than that.
these aren't
Since-
actuals? Like the 22 over here for the year 23, 24,
Yep,
22,000?
that one's a true number. That's what we
And
spent
then you went
that fiscal year.
17,
Yep,
and then you're back at 22
22, that's this budget. That's how much we have in this budget.
for current year, that
Correct.
ends June 30th.
Yep,
And then you're budgeting 22 next year.
correct.
Flip the next page, you got that one. and then you got that one. I also got that one right there, which is another labor. That's where I'm at. It's so, I mean, there's three of them. Okay.
And so your gas, you said you switched to gas from electric?
Yep.
I guess my question would be, is there any way that that can be driven down?
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, I guess.
When you have a pool, it's just headache after headache.
Yep.
You know, when you're open to the public, you're always constantly buying supplies. Anytime we can find ways to save, you know, switching from spray bottles to the hand towels, you know, that might save us a couple $100 a year that we try and do. Anytime we can order stuff that we know that we're gonna have to use a lot of, paper towels, toilet paper, things like that, we always try and buy in bulk to get the absolute best rate. It's just a very old building that takes a lot of work,
How many people?
especially when, you know, 400 people a day are coming.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's
Yeah,
it's really busy. Just look at the parking lots. And now you can park on the north side with it, and also the east side. It's used a lot.
Listen, I didn't mean to get you guys defensive on it. I just,
And again, I'm not trying to challenge you and make you defensive. I'm just saying, for me, coming from the business background, there's a lot of numbers here, and it's a huge budget, you know? And so for us, for my world, and why people, when I was out campaigning, said we want somebody in there from the business side, is to pay attention to the little stuff, because it adds up very quickly. So when I question miscellaneous, that's where my head is trying to say, what does that equate to?
Absolutely.
And I'm not here to make that last dime count, but I am an elected official from the people that are asking me, why are we spending all this money? So that's where I'm trying to get to,
Sure.
and to wrap my head around the numbers.
So,
Trying to answer.
so then what the body comes up with needs to make a policy that you all can agree on to do that.
I agree.
That's what we do as the city manager, the finance director. We pay attention to the dollars and cents on a day-to-day basis, if that makes sense.
Yes,
So,
it does.
okay.
It does, yes. But I agree, like when we talked about vehicles earlier, like all of a sudden you have 25, and I'm not talking police, like
No,
need
I
as many as
understand.
you need. You're my number one. I'm your fan. But when you start handing out vehicles to Parks and Recs, now have 5 or 6, like, are we tracking, how many are we actually using? What's the mileage per year? Maybe they only need 4, you know? Maybe you can share something with another department, and then you just save those pennies there. And we keep getting bigger and bigger.
And while I understand what you're saying, those are not new ideas. We've looked at those things over and over again. And we try and make sure that we are not having excess of anything. We don't want that.
so how do we put like policies in place to enforce that then?
You make a motion.
The budget.
Yeah, but for example, I asked, do you as a council want to make any changes to what we've presented from Monday night? That would require a motion from the council to say, I want this, this, and this, or I want to do this. And then the council makes that decision as a board.
Well, we have to do it after this because we can't make motions in these things, can we?
Yeah, this is in a public meeting that you can make a motion regarding budget. So on Monday night, when we start talking about budget again,
Yeah.
I will ask that same question to say, what do you want to, was there anything that you want to change? For example, do you want to fund Elder Bridge for the $6,000 requested? Because it's not in the budget right now, so we wouldn't be doing that. I've already got your general consensus on the other one. That's where, okay, I would like to do something different with the police department or the fire department or something like that. And if you have the council agrees to that, perfect. Then that's what we will do.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to standardize our fleet of cars somehow, to come up with some type of unilateral. I understand the police have an exception, but we have all these 25 vehicles or whatever, there's some type of procedure per vehicle.
Isn't that what each department head
That's,
does now?
yeah, I would say that's the department.
When I asked
who
how many
left at the
times did you
department.
get an oil change, the one was 3, one was 6, one was. I mean,
But it varies.
Do you get a car
It varies
wash?
from department to
Yeah, I
department,
mean-
is my guess.
De-
Based on
depending
the
on
way
your
they
usage.
use
on the
them.
vehicle and what the recommended mileage is with the oil you're using. So like our parks guys, you know, they do it when, if it's 5,000 miles that's recommended, or if it's 6,000 miles it's recommended. But we have logbooks of everything we do to all of our vehicles. Our parks guys service all 4 or 5 of theirs, along with the one that, golf course has. And then we do our regular routine maintenance with the 2 at the wreck, between Andy's vehicle and the van.
Yeah, I mean, I
Aaron,
know.
would it make any sense for us to finish going through the budget and then coming back to chip away at any of the
Certainly.
areas? that-
It's fine. but-
That's fine. I mean, we've been going on this one. We've got, what do we have left for you?
Couple more.
And I understand it's your job to
So-
do the day-to-day, but it's our job to verify. We owe it to our constituents
You
on a
do.
daily basis to
Correct.
verify this stuff, so I don't understand why every time we try to
But-
talk to it, we get really like, the room like escalates, and the room
Well-
shouldn't escalate when we have a job to do. That's what we were elected to do.
Correct.
Was to verify this stuff, so it's
but
very
Jason-
frustrating.
Jason,
Yes.
but your strength, which is what I've explained to you, is your strength is as a body, not as an individual council person.
Yes. So I need to ask clarifying questions before I can even bring something up.
So you can, and that's what we try and give you that information all the time.
Yeah.
And we're
I mean,
happy to do that.
I don't understand why the temperature has to rise in here every time we go over this.
Is that 8,000, what we've spent this year, is that something that we can quantify?
I would be able to look at the bills.
All right? Is that- how
So,
hard is
so,
that
and
to
you
do?
said that's through the end of January, right? So we're on track to spend about $18,000,
He's estimating
assuming nothing
22
weird
here.
happens.
If it would stay that same course, obviously
Right.
this is our busiest season, so we're probably spending more from November to February than we are possibly the rest
And
of
if
the
we
time.
didn't have a weird occurrence, that remainder of the 22,000 would just go back into the general fund.
Correct.
Well, some of the expenditures, the bigger ones in that 8,000 or that 8,800 right now are, we spent almost 2,700 on water softener repairs.
Okay. What I'm getting at is, and I think you're wanting to make sure that this is not something that we couldn't do ourselves.
Yeah,
That sounds like something we probably could not do, is repair a water softener.
Here's another one for about 1,500 for chemical pump replacement and tubes. That's what the
Okay.
description says.
Which we order and install
So-
ourselves.
I completely understand if we're doing things that our own staff could do, but those don't sound like things we could do ourselves.
And then,
Is
That's
there-
a question for him.
Yeah, right.
I'm just telling you
Well, the
what
one we
it
can,
says.
we just
That's
order
my
the
point,
parts
is if
to
that
repair those
$8,000,
things.
if $7,500 of it is things that is like sweeping the floor, that we could be doing ourselves, I would agree with Jason, but if it's things like plumbing,
yeah, like,
or snaking something out that we can't do ourselves, then I understand it.
and the snaking out, like you said, it happened 3 times. Is that a one-off? Like, do you have that every year that you have to count on that? Like how many
Honestly,
times?
it was those 2 or 3 times last month, and then we had one in July, I wanna say.
Are those $200,
But since I've
$300
been here, I
deals?
think we've only had it happen one other time.
What's it cost us to have somebody do that?
Couple $100, I'm sure, to have.
so do we, I mean, at this point, have we
R&R
bought a
come.
snake to like I have to feel that, like, anytime you own a business, you have a snake, I mean,
Correct,
that's what I'm
but-
getting at, is this reoccurrence that.
The issue is, we do have a snake, but it's just a standard snake. You know, what they're able to provide us is one that goes hundreds of feet.
Okay,
Because, you know, you're talking a line that goes from the east or the west end of the building all the way to
Okay.
the east.
so that makes sense, okay.
I've had the exact same thing happen in my business. I mean, I keep thinking of this as we're talking here. I had someone I've never seen walk in, use the bathroom, $300 later, I now have a bathroom back again.
You've never seen them again.
And, no, never saw them again.
Never seen them again.
But I
But I
understand what you're
appreciate the use of
saying.
the bathroom.
Yes.
They couldn't even tell me what was in there. But it was 120 feet out of my building. You know, so
No, I get it, okay.
that's why I kinda understand having to call.
I
How many
understand
square
that.
feet is the rec center? Is it 30, 40,000 square feet?
Oh, I think it's north
So it
of.
brought up more a shock that it costs that much to maintain that
Yeah.
building. That's what I initially, it's not a plug at any of your employees or anything, it is a shock that it costs that much money to maintain that building.
It sounds
you go
like it's
broke
because
doing
it's
it.
so old and it's so big. Is that fair?
Especially when we
Yeah.
put millions of dollars.
And we
in,
just
it's
have
still costing
a
us.
lot of different
It's-
proponents to it, you know, obviously we have miles of sewer, we have miles of water line.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a fire alarm system all the way through it. You know, there's basketball hoops, you know, those, just because they're installed doesn't mean something doesn't break on them.
No.
So, yeah, there's just a lot of proponents to it and it's tough.
So that 400 a day, that doesn't count like when the youth people come in and play.
Oh, yeah.
You don't count those people.
Yeah, we do. For who?
For like when those youth, you know, kindergarten kids are playing basketball, parents are just walking in, you don't even count those people.
Oh, yeah, yeah. If you come into the rec center, we count you unless you're involved in one of the leagues.
How do you count those people
You just sign in.
then?
When
No,
signing
they're,
in
they're just walking right into the courts.
for like youth basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why I said we don't count those because
Okay.
how would you? Between that and anybody doing the theater or any rentals, you know. If we have a play or something in the theater, most of those
So
are all sold out.
realistically,
That's an
it's over-
extra 350 people that come in.
Yeah, it's, the average is 400, but it's actually more than that.
But that's just for the standard use of the facility.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to start a big, if we can move on, I was just shocked at the cost of what, like, I just needed a little bit of justification in my life for why that was so high. I find it mind-boggling that nobody else up here finds it that high when there's two maintenance guys, but I mean, maybe I'm just, wired a little different.
Jason, I don't know. I don't know all the problems,
Yeah.
but I do know that baby's used a lot.
I do. I was just amazed at how high it was. That was it, like.
Yeah, I get it. But this minus 400,000, we've been looking at that number for multi-years in that area.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's
I'll
a
probably
survey.
question it next year. It's just a high number.
Yeah.
Like, I
Fine.
mean, it's hard to
Conversations are
stomach.
fine.
All right, got two more things.
Yeah, some of our capital requests would include exercise equipment, our weight stack machines. I haven't found the actual receipt for them, but I think they were purchased in 1996. We're taking them in to get welded, we're constantly replacing the cables. They're very unsafe because they do not have any protector between the user and the actual weight stack. We've had people pinch their fingers and smash their fingers in them. So we're looking at getting all of those replaced. Then a pool vacuum, which this wasn't originally on the list, but we just had one of those go out. We have two. We have one for the outdoor and one for the indoor. The one for the indoor is going out, so for right now, it sounds like it's probably an all brand new motor, so could be like $3,000 on a 12-year-old unit. It's probably time to replace it. I don't even know if that was $3,000 when it was brand new.
Is that something that runs on a regular basis?
Yep.
On its own, or is it something they have to
Yep.
physically do? Okay,
It's kind of like having a Roomba in your house.
okay,
You set it in the pool and you let it go.
okay.
Do it a
When-
couple
when
of times a
nobody's
week.
in there, hopefully.
Yeah.
They used to run that when we were in there years ago, and like, that's 110 volts running.
A little cord wrapped around your neck.
Well, the thing's just going all over, and I'm
Good time.
thinking,
It'll just be
if
tangled.
there's a short,
It'll be fine.
It's a motivator.
Yeah, there you go. It's
So-
just a little motivating.
Chad, I asked you a while back, because where I'm going with this is, at the Park and Recs, he talked about the usage of the treadmills. And one of them had over 65,000 miles on it. And I'm like, that number was astonishing. And when I talk to people when I'm at the rec, they're like, they can't believe that many miles. And I've asked you for some information.
When I got here, I made sure that we had a full-on list of every piece of equipment, like weight room style equipment that we had, serial number on it, tracking when we're having service issues with it, tracking hours every year. So right before we get to busy season in October, I have a couple staff go in there and literally pull every mileage, every odometer that we can find, just to keep track. So that way we know what is getting used, why, start formulating plans. I mean, that treadmill that had 65,000 miles on it, we still have it. We didn't trade that one off because
there's
it still
multiples that
runs
have-
really well.
There's
The
more than one
next
that has
to
that
it
many
had
miles.
25,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
We originally purchased it for $7,000, and it had probably 6,800 in just repairs alone on it.
Chad, are you seeing the usage of the treadmills going down at all because of the track, or is it staying fairly
It's
constant?
slowed a little bit, but if you like being on treadmills, you're going to be on a treadmill.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I see the 70 grand for the equipment. I get the 70 grand for the equipment. This stuff is not cheap. Like, I understand it. And it's a necessity to have. I get it. I just,
You go down there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll be lucky to get something sometimes.
yeah. Okay. I guess we can move on.
Any questions on rec center? Next would be leisure services. Not really much has changed on this one. We did increase our 250-66 line item, which is basically where we pull out all of our equipment. If we're getting new catchers or replacing catchers gear, bats, it's where all of our soccer balls, football, everything, and then t-shirts come out of there as well. No capital items are coming out of leisure services. Generally, we don't unless we have soccer goals or something larger that we would need that we just can't get in a regular budget. We are adding a couple of new events in the next year. We're looking at adding a couple of youth tournaments on top of doing a pickleball tournament, or excuse me, a pickleball league. Hopefully we get that started here very shortly. We just switched up how, I think for the last 10 years, we've been doing a basketball camp, and that kind of whittled down to about 40 participants last year, but we switched it over to a league, and it's been very good. We've had 144, so, I think we do kindergarten through 4th, if I remember right. It's either
Chad, are
kindergarten or
those-
first.
Are the programs that you guys offer kind of a revenue neutral thing, or do we end up losing money? Do we make a
We
little
lose money on it just because of the staff that's associated with doing it. I think Grant, I believe, is 100% out of there. And then our secretary
95%.
is 95% out of there. So you throw 2 full-time salaried people out of that one line item. It's
But like
taking a
each
lot.
additional program that we add, does
And then,
that
I mean,
cost
part
us
of
additional
mine.
money then?
What's that?
If we add a new program, is it,
That's why we're trying to add
In the
stuff
red
that
then
doesn't
more?
necessarily cost us a whole lot. Pickleball, we already have everything for. We're just gonna facilitate a league.
So with the supplies, are we like getting ahead on these supplies? Cause like every year we spend, like, I know that we need soccer balls. The life expectancy of a soccer ball is probably more than 1 year, especially through a
Generally,
rec
yeah.
year or
Yeah.
baseballs. Are we like gaining ground so that that supply number starts to
Yes.
go down?
So basically, when I got here, it didn't seem like any of the baseball equipment had been replaced in, it kind of looked like
Yeah,
20
ever.
years.
Yeah, I get you.
So we've been slowly like chipping away at that, and then, kind of getting on a cycle. Soccer balls, we generally don't have to add until like we go through them after every season. And if we have a couple of really bad ones, we toss those out, we get some new ones.
What sport is our biggest cost, I guess, on this equipment?
Probably baseball for equipment wise,
Yep.
but at the
But we're
same
moving
time,
in the
when
right
you have
direction to
that
keep this
equipment
stuff?
ready, when you have that good equipment ready, like, and you can get some good years out of them, then it's mainly just buying baseballs, buying the chalk for the fields, things like that.
So I just want to see if this thing starts going down. That's the only way that I see
That
in this.
entire
we
line
can-
item, probably not, just because that's where all of our shirts and jerseys come out of, and that hasn't, I mean, probably 5 years ago, those kind of went up dramatically in price.
Are
and
they
just-
sponsored or whatever? Don't they?
Correct.
How does that work?
But we still have to buy them.
You know,
How
How
much,
we're
over
trying
the,
to do-
how much over the sponsorship is the t-shirts for us, for the city?
It's generally about the same
So it's a break even on the t-shirts?
on the t-shirts usually, but we still have to purchase them.
And then where's the revenue
What do you
back
mean by
from
that?
that?
Can we
revenue
pay
would
for 'em
still-
and they pay us back, or what?
No, we account for the revenue up in the revenue section.
Okay,
and the
I
full
gotcha.
price
Yeah.
of the t-shirts and
Gotcha.
expense section.
So you get the one,
Yeah, so all of that just goes
47.
directly into leisure
Okay.
services. I've kind of argued that we should probably just have our own like sponsorship line item to where we can break that out better
Okay.
and see how much we're making in sponsorship. We do it in golf, so that's probably something we'll adjust in leisure services as well.
okay, yeah, all right. And soccer tournament, that's a big one? Why has that increased so much
Increased where,
in value, the soccer tournament?
Matches the revenue on the page you go, so it's net zero.
That's
Just
a
the
net, that's a
revenue
net
side?
zero, never mind, you're good.
yep.
Net zero.
how many baseballs do you buy a year? Do you have any idea?
No idea.
No idea. You use regular balls, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They need to get the lady that ran my
Get some
baseball
of those
league.
state tournament balls. that
Bring in the
wouldn't
old
hurt.
bucket and they're all
You got
brown.
five, you got 5 baseballs, and you better not lose those baseballs, cause she wants some baseballs
We
back.
generally only buy a couple of new boxes every year, and that's mainly for the middle school aged groups.
They're regular baseballs.
And that's
I'm
just
thinking of the
for
state
games
baseball
only.
tournament balls that we are used to maybe.
Fortunately, I don't think she's alive from the stress over these baseballs.
The
Man,
small
she was
kids have a
not.
rubberized baseball.
Yeah, well, we don't get any of those nice balls back for our programs, cause those would just disappear
Okay.
overnight.
Get it.
Those all get donated probably to
I don't
high
know if you
school
use
teams.
1,000 balls a year or something, it's
Wow.
different than if you're using two
No.
boxes.
I know we get a couple of
Not worth
boxes
it.
just for game use,
And they will disappear if they're
Catching
ones I had mine on.
and then once they're done with games, you know, they throw them in a batting practice bucket.
Yeah, okay.
Next one is cemetery. Nope, aquatic center. Nothing, so sorry, that'll be on, not too far. Page 58. Basically, no changes. Last year, we did take a little bit of a hit. The year before was an excellent year, so kind of just trying to figure out if it was just more weather related. We just didn't have as many memberships as years prior. And, you know, if some of you remember, we've added the Carroll County reciprocal pool pass. That did help drive a lot the first year, but then we saw a sizable dip the next year. So it's just trying to, it's one of those quirky things that just kind of goes in waves with pool seasons. I mean, weather is a huge dependent on it. We didn't have an overly hot start to our year. It rained a lot. We did have a lot of closed days because of rain and storms. A couple fecal incidents.
Yeah, how many were self-inflicted closures did we have?
I think we were closed 7 total days throughout the summer because of that,
Are these like just honest accidents, or does that make?
generally.
I mean, I know they're accidents, but like, some accidents are preventable and some are not.
Yes, these are 100% preventable. We try and educate our patrons every year. If you have a sick kid that's in a swim diaper or not, do not bring them to the pool. If they have a fecal accident and it gets into the pool, we have to close. I mean, that's state law.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
lost revenue to taxpayers, it's lost revenue to everything. Is there like a fine or something that can be I mean,
You're gonna
I
find
understand,
somebody
like, an
because their
accident.
2-year-old accidentally
Yeah.
pooped in the pool. I mean,
yeah.
and you know, another one I think was a New Hope client. So I mean, it's
Okay, oh, okay, all right, so I'm good. It's uncontrollable, yeah, I got you. I got you.
We try and educate, I know, KCCI just did an interview, with Knoxville. They had to close their indoor pool because of the same thing.
Yeah.
And they put out the same state guidelines, just,
That's what happened 7 times.
it
Yeah.
only happened
One shut
3
it down for
times,
2
but we were
days.
closed 7 days.
Well, one did shut it down for 2
Like
days,
Bill
right?
Murray.
Yeah. So, it stinks, really, but, you know, it
Sorry,
is
I-
preventable on their side, but accidents happen.
No fines, I get it, you can't.
Any questions about Aquatic Center? Move on to cemetery. We had, I think, 102 burials last year. It's the most in the last 7 years. Currently, we are sitting at about 85% capacity for our cemetery as far as sold plots and available plots. The good thing is, with us only doing about 100 of these a year, we still have plenty of time before we need to start planning the field to the south.
And we have that land now, right?
Correct. That's all ours. We just lease it to the FFA to test plot.
Is that gonna be really pricey to turn that into, or is it pretty much opening up the fence and extending it out, or is that gonna be?
There's no fence on that side, but we would have to add roads. And then on top of that, we would also have to have everything plotted out.
And then they're looking at
Columbariums.
yeah.
Yeah. So basically vertical walls that you can slide just urns into.
Yeah, having a wall for that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we do lose a lot of full plots because, you know,
That's
they,
a com-
they
that's
buy
the
the
thing now.
space, put a tiny headstone on and just put one urn in.
Yeah.
Now, we're also taking a look at some of the state policy and what we can do, because obviously it's a very, very old cemetery. We have spaces that never had, you know, they were purchased in 1850 and no one was ever buried in them.
I don't think they're around to contest.
They are not, but there is state policy that we have to follow to go and try and reclaim some of those, so.
And how are we doing on the, are we still on track for Memorial Day on the,
It sounded like the granite was being cut,
okay,
that might be this week,
okay,
so.
all right, sounds good.
I think that's all I got for cemetery. We didn't have any capital requests there. I would say in cemetery, I am requesting for, this fiscal year, an additional about 15,000 to help take some trees out. We did a pretty good job to start the year and took a couple out. Then as we had such a high wind year and some nuisance trees, we need to get those out before they start causing problems and we have insurance claims and items like that.
Are most
So,
of your ash trees out of there?
all of our ash trees are
Okay,
gone
good.
in parks and our spaces. These would just be 100-year-old
damaged,
trees
yeah.
that have been there forever and damaged and just unhealthy, so. All the ones that we personally could get to, we've taken out. Obviously, when it comes to a 100-year-old 4-foot wide tree that sits over a bunch of headstones, you know, we hire that out just for safety and insurance reasons. That's all I have for cemetery, unless there's any questions. We can jump to tab M, page 150. All that is just our theater. So part of Jill's salary, our secretary's salary, comes out of that, and then it's just kind of the electrical for that space, and then just some minor pieces if things are needed. So if we do have something go wrong, I know we've had issues in some of those bathrooms, we had to replace toilets, replacing lights, things like that. That would just come out of that budget.
What was your capital outlay for this year, your 100? What was that for?
So that's a budget item that's been in the CIP for a long time. It was originally 200, I think, Laura, 250. That was to start doing like full-on light renovations and doing a lot of those
In the theater. I don't know if you
in
mentioned that.
just the theater alone.
Yeah. But it's not been spent.
We haven't had a whole lot of issues with what is up there. I think it was just kind of to put it away. It was before my time.
Yeah, it was more to do some more, bigger
Bigger ticket items.
remodeling and upgrades to the theater area. But yeah, nothing, no plan.
Since we weren't utilizing any large ticket items or looking to replace some of that stuff, we don't need it budgeted
So
in
the
there.
seats
I don't
are
think
rather
so.
old, obviously,
I'm
they're
guessing
original,
that's
I
in the
believe.
administration.
Yep.
And they're holding out.
Cause I
Yep.
made some, yeah.
Holding just fine.
And the color's back in style.
Yeah, did you see that? They
Well,
got their
they
new
talked about
CCGP
lighting.
people today.
Yeah.
They
It
put
is.
new curtains.
They got new curtains a while back.
Right,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
fine with that.
I
I just
like
wanna
that.
make sure, the seats, I've never seen one go
No,
Yep.
quite old,
Well,
they're fine.
hope they don't.
they've held up a long time. So,
Just a lot of orange in there.
all right.
Thank you, Chad.
Last couple of pieces, I think it's on page 177, park development. We are putting another 175,000 for the Graham Park lighting. There's 125,000 in there for sport court repair, the Northwest Park tennis courts. We originally thought we could resurface, so we had 45,000 in there last year. We brought some companies on site and they said, we can resurface it, but we're not gonna warranty any of our work because of the cracks that have developed. So the extra 80 to make it 125 is looking at replacement. So tearing out some of that and then pouring it back.
Some of it, you mean it all wouldn't?
It would be like
It
the
looks
full
pretty well
courts.
used up.
It would be the full courts. And there's
They
just
do
two
that for
there.
125,000 or whatever that is? That's what you're, okay.
They have to take the fences down and everything to do that, I'm assuming.
We've heard both. So that's why I'm trying to go with the cheaper route and keeping the fences where they are, tearing everything else out, because that's not the issue. Issue's an underlying issue.
Would those, they get used at all now with the ones down in Graham Park, or are
Yep,
they?
they've been getting used a lot with pickleball
Oh,
as a secondary location, and then the high schools still use those two courts.
I got
And
you.
they have to host any sort of districts, conference.
Are the ones in Rolling
meets.
Hills doing okay?
No, those ones are actually worse. So
Really?
we're gonna fix these ones up and then probably get rid of those courts down there
Oh, okay.
and
Are
do
the
something
lights still
different.
functioning then on the northwest courts?
The lights, yeah.
They're
Yep.
good yet?
Yep, we just rehabbed them a little bit this summer.
So to have high school tournaments, you have to have 8 courts. You got
And
6
that's the
Grand
two
Park
that they
and the other
use,
2.
And that's
yeah.
why we need to repair them.
Yep.
Yeah. And we will be going to the schools and asking for
I'm just gonna say that,
money towards
because
those.
that's how it originally
Yeah,
was funded by both.
correct. Or
new
the
courts,
sixplex
the new
was,
courts were.
yeah.
Those new courts in Graham Park should be lit up with this
Yep,
Graham Park light, okay.
yep, pickleball and that.
Which I don't care what they say about you, I love you, man.
Oh, so sweet. That was it.
And thank you to all your people down there too, I know they are doing a good, they do, you know?
The only thing I didn't touch on was the rec trust. Is that tab V, Laura? All the rec trust is basically a trust fund that was set up. We kind of just use it as a pass-through, so, I know this is maybe the, one of the.
Tab S.
Tab S,
Yeah.
close. You are gonna see a little bit in and out on that one. The Kellen's Kingdom Foundation, wanted to purchase some new equipment for Northeast Park Playground. They got a grant from the Nick Nurse Foundation, so we're purchasing it, they're reimbursing us, putting it in. So that's what that expense item is.
Does this get used a lot, this rec trust fund?
Not a lot,
It's the
no.
first time I heard about it.
Usually just like Chad said, if we get a donation, then that donation's gonna cover 100% of the cost.
Is there a balance in there, or?
Yeah, there is, there's a slight balance. We're anticipating at the end of,
5,000?
45,000 at the end of the fiscal '27.
Yeah, okay.
The other item in there too is the swim team got a grant
Oh,
to do
yes,
some timing system.
new timing system, they got a grant for that, so we use it as a pass-through as well.
Oh, that's That's awesome.
The rec trust fund is basically set there to, number one, help with these items. And then number two, like if we were in a situation where we wanted to replace something but not, ask the general public to pay for it, it was out of that. I don't know how much it ever got up to in the past. It was more something that was done way back when, but it's generally
It's nice
just
to
sat
have
there.
community
And
involvement, that's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's really,
some people leave some money in their wills to
Yeah.
go to
You're
rec
collecting
center.
interest from that too, aren't you?
okay, no, that's awesome.
That's all I
I
got.
like that.
All right, Chad, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chad.
I would say we should probably look at finishing up on Monday evening with you guys now, so.
You just have a few things left, don't you?
Any other questions for anybody while we're here?
I have
Okay.
2 more, sorry,
Okay.
they're quick. So Dan, when I did the tour out there at the fire station, we talked a little bit about the IMO rating, ISO rating.
Yep.
Do we know what it is currently? We're at a 4, and what do we need to do to get that better? What do you need?
I'll be very honest, I've never been involved in it. I guess the lower the number, the better. When you do the testing, it has to do with your equipment, your water shuttles, your
Response time?
water flows.
Yep.
I just had to look the folder up, and the reason I know it was a 4, we had an insurance company just call, in town, because they're insuring somebody, and they had to know what our rating was. But I mean, I think in that folder, it's about an inch thick, and it was,
It should be-
Greg did
I-
it the last time, I think it was in 19 is when it was last
I
done.
think almost to go to a 3, you'd probably have to go to either more full-time staff or another fire station or some significant inputs into well, it also includes your water system, your building codes, all those things. So I think it'd take a lot of research, but I don't know if we could get there just because of being a town the size we are.
Sure, I appreciate that. I know that, I think you had mentioned, we did something that lowered our number, which helps everybody's insurance in the
Absolutely.
city.
Yeah,
So that's my
absolutely.
point, is like, it's easier to sell to the taxpayers if this is going to affect your personal
Your
insurance.
insurance, absolutely. Yep.
And I think that's something, in the future, we should have a discussion about as a council and do more exploratory on that.
Yeah, we can look into it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's just gonna be extremely
Yeah.
expensive, but that's okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then the other thing, I sent this note to you, Wendy, today, and you may not have seen it yet on your emails. So I grabbed this off Jason's pile the other night, because I didn't have one. So on your door count for 2025 was 53,603. How do you count for the library?
So we have a door counter that's on each side of the door for the main doors. So anytime someone walks across that, it breaks that line and it counts a person. So it's not 100% because like if a big group of people comes in, it only breaks the seal or the line once. So it's not 100% accurate, but but it's the same throughout every month. Every month that same thing happens. And then we also have a door counter on the large meeting room. So if somebody goes in and out of the large meeting room, so we take that number and then divide it by 2 because you would break the line coming in and break the line going out. So that's the
Okay.
way we do it.
Okay, because, and I'm not a library patron, I think I shared that with you.
They get counted twice then, once for coming in the front door, once for going in the meeting room?
No, the meeting room is to go out. So if they walk in the door, the main door, and then they walk out the meeting room, because we had a lot of people who were doing that, or like one of our groups will send one person in to go into the large meeting room, then they'll open the door for everybody else to come in so they don't have to walk through the whole library. So that way, it counts you coming in, it counts you going out. So then I divide the number by 2 so that I'm counting the people, not the in and the out.
Okay, so I question, because I work in a world of averages too, so 53,000 divided by 306 days, taking your 6 days a week and taking a few days off for holidays, that's 175 persons a day.
Yeah.
You have that many people coming in there every day of 175?
There are sometimes obviously where there's more, like if we have a bigger program during the summer, we have a lot more people coming in than we do during the rest of the year, like during the winter. But we do have a lot of people who come into the library every day. We have people that come every day. We have group homes that come in. We have groups that come and meet there that don't necessarily come to check out books, but they do come to use the meeting room spaces or the large meeting room. They come for an education class, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, we have, it's kind of crazy the people who are not in the library very often that are like, wow, it is really busy in here. I'm like, I know, we like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
will attest to one time I did go in there. I've been in there more than once. It was busier than I remember. I told you I was like, wow, there's a lot of people in here. I will attest to it.
Yeah, you were a little shocked. That was very fun for me.
I don't know where they all park.
I want to know where parking is, because
Yeah.
I could use some by the cupola.
Yeah, the parking's a little dicey sometimes, but
Sometimes you don't
yes.
see them because they're in the upper level too.
Yeah, they do hide
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
That's where I go every day if you guys ever go by there.
I just want to thank everybody for enduring all my questions.
Good enough.
No, thank you guys.
Is there any more? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second. Oh, you got
Jeff, then Jason, second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes?
Laverne.
Yeah.
Carolyn.
Yes.
Harry.